Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Dan.
Chris.
Lee.
This is unusual.
Why?
What, that it's
Well,
morning.
It's morning. Well, it was 2
It
minutes
was.
ago.
It's afternoon now.
Yeah, it's not Monday night, and I'm not going to be finishing this and going straight to bed.
No.
No.
No, we're doing this
I might be.
part-timer. We're doing this early because it's TT, but you're still hearing it at the same time because I've still got to mix it.
Yep.
So we're going to make it as difficult as possible this week. And that 9-hour edit that I did the other week,
Which means if Formula One decides to be kind to us and break news on Monday,
we're
it's
still
too...
fucked.
Yeah, it's too late.
Yeah.
Too late.
So here's a gap for that now with Paul and Sean.
Oh, and we're done.
So interesting.
Wow.
God, could you believe that actually
No.
happened?
That's stunning. Anyway, other news that might have broken...
Toto Wolff caught having sex with Niki Lauda.
No, right, no, stop that now.
Don't say it, baby. But if you want to not say it, baby, we're launching Jacques Attack.
We are launching... This is a Jacques Attack warning that is happening later in this podcast.
Yeah.
Because this is the launch of Jacques Attack. And we're going to be on it all week.
Oh, yeah.
And so are you.
Like I said the other week, together we can make a rich man a little richer.
Yes. I have a good point about Jacques Villeneuve that he made in the media later, but we'll do that when we get on to Jacques
Is it
Attack.
something to do with the fact that in 1 year he went through both Minogue sisters and Natalie Imbruglia?
No, it's something he said in the media this week, which I think you'll agree
he
with.
did the Aussie Trinity.
You see this running order?
Stick to it.
Can we use it?
Oh yeah, I just I want people to know, because I always like Jacques. I always listen to him. I want people to know why I hold him in such high regard.
I think you'll hold him in higher regard when we get to the Jacques Attack bit, but much news before that.
Now that we've stopped fooling around.
Yes.
That's like a reverse segue.
Yeah, you just lean backwards and it does the work for you. Oh, this is like end of term.
Segway suicide. Would that be really difficult to commit? You keep doing-
Well, the guy that owned the company died when he had a Segway crash. He fell off a cliff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Riding a Segway, yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So he did commit suicide on a Segway, but
But it wasn't deliberate.
yeah, unintentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
Committing suicide in a segue would be like the Wayne's World, wouldn't it? If he's just there slowly going toward the cliff, going
Segways can go quite quick.
You know that 9-hour edit? I think you just caused about 3 with those screams. Right, Vijay Mallya, first
Yes.
thing.
News.
Yes, stepped aside as a director of Force India,
But not as team owner.
but not as team principal. And he will still be carrying out his team principal role at Silverstone because he can't go to any other races because he doesn't have a passport.
No, because of financial difficulties and irregularities,
Yes.
I believe.
And
he'd still be running this business from the Black Skull on the Seven Seas.
No, he's allowed to run his business affairs, but from the UK, and he's being monitored and still being investigated. It's now 2 years into this investigation.
yeah, I mean, there's new stories still coming out that India are pressing to speed up the extradition process because they want him back. But at least with him stepping aside from the directorship of Force India, it kind of means that his business affairs aren't tied up with the teams,
Yeah.
which kind of gives the team a little bit of hope.
Yeah. And I wonder if that means that this is all sort of coming to a head now, whereas he knows that he's going to have to go somewhere or something's going to be, some action's going to be taken, and to protect the team, he stepped away from a directorship.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that we have noticed is the buyout rumours, they've just dropped off completely. I tried some Rich Energy last night.
Oh, yeah. Selling it over here.
Yeah, it tastes just like the energy drink produced by another team on the grid.
That one.
That one.
Yeah.
It's Red Bull in a black can.
It's all energy drinks taste the same, apart from that Kubica one. Was it Kubica?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That tastes like piss.
It
And
did.
the Lewis Hamilton Monster.
Which is awful.
Oh well, they're all flavored. I don't consider
Yeah.
them. But when you get like the OG energy drink flavor,
yeah.
they all taste the
Fruit
same.
flavored.
Yes, mixed fruits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have never had a fruit that tastes like they do.
No,
No.
It's the prawn cocktail crisp syndrome.
Yeah, that's like cutting up a xenomorph and just saying meat.
Well, with it being TT and all the burger wagons that we've got dotted around the island, how do you think they get stocked so quick? You know, there's that one company that does delicious dogs, and the dogs are in quotes.
Because sometimes they use cats.
This may not be true.
Didn't mention which company we can say.
No.
we want. But I did have a delicious dog from them the other day. So, do we think this is going to settle Force India down quite a bit? Because they had a bit of a torrid start to the season, and I think the business pressures have been, well, the business pressures of one of the team owners has been sort of impacting on the stability of what's going on at all levels in
I don't
in
know,
the
because
organisation.
they have a torrid start to most years. They seem to be really, really good at developing through the year.
Mm-hmm.
And
But for
I think it will be good for the team, but not maybe in a way that we'll notice.
But for the last 2 or 3 seasons, especially while all this BJ Malia business has been going on, it's always been the pre-season test. 1, are Force India going to turn up? 2, what car are they going to bring? And 3, are we actually going to see them on the grid in Australia? Do you think we've had the last year of that now? And we're actually going to see Force India just being a normal team in Barcelona next March?
Not until not until 2021 if they sort out this cash thing, and then even realistically, not until 2022 till everyone gets paid.
Yeah. Well, I think 2021 is looking a little bit too far in the future for them. I think short term they need that big cash injection from someone, whether or not they take on that technical partnership with Mercedes.
Which has been officially denied that there's any sort of that kind of thing going on.
Well,
So
we know that
watch out for it happening soon.
Exactly, because we know that Mercedes Toto Wolff has already said that they would look at doing a technical partnership tie-up with another team, similar to Ferrari's relationship with Haas and Sauber.
Yeah.
I think
This is all subject to the technical partnership not being announced on Monday, and me and Sean have already talked about this.
Of course, yeah. Subject to that bit in the podcast that you heard earlier.
This is going to be confusing.
Yeah, it's finances at the end of the day, and money talks, money speaks, especially in Formula One. But the financial problems of Force India don't go away with Vijay Mallya just stepping aside as a director.
No.
That just protects the team from any incurrences from him in the future.
In fact, they may be made worse because I think Sahara and Kingfisher and
they're off. Yeah, they're gone.
Do they not put any money into the team anymore?
No, I don't think so. Well, Kingfisher they're not Sahara Force India anymore, are they?
No,
they're not a title sponsor.
No, and also Kingfisher is actually a defunct company now, and there were questions about them putting their sponsorship on a car when they not actually trading. So
that's the airline, but the beer's still going. But the beer is now part of Diageo.
Yeah, which is in a conflict of interest with other things that Vijay Mallya has got going on, which is why it's so good that Vijay Mallya has stepped away from the team. But you do seem to hear a lot more of Otmar Safnoyer and Bob Fernley.
Yes.
They are basically running the team now with Vijay Mallya. So I think he's just there as, doing his team principal duties in Silverstone.
They are still officially Sahara Force India, so Sahara are putting.
Oh, are they?
Sahara must be putting something in to get the naming rights, because you'd have thought with all the BWT branding on there, BWT would be title sponsor as well as owning the entire livery.
Yeah, maybe, but yeah, I just think Force India either need to take over that technical partnership with Mercedes, or just a real actual proper title sponsor, so that they become BWT Force India. Or
They need a savior for the team, don't they? Because it's not like Williams. There's no. I don't think anyone's going to be upset to see Force India not on the grid. Do you know the name?
I would be.
Do you think?
Will it be in the team that was Jordan?
Yeah.
Absolutely, I would be. But
It would be upsetting, but not in the same way as Williams or even Sauber going.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the same history yet.
No.
I don't think that'd be a particularly fucking bad idea for somebody. If you're looking to buy into the team, is to turn around to Eddie Jordan and say,
Can we call it Jordan again?
Yeah, can we call the team Jordan again? Because the advertising potential for that team. No team, I don't think, in the history of Formula One, maybe, has done such a good job as, say, like early 90s to mid 90s Jordan.
Yeah, well, they were winning races late 90s,
Yeah, no, but
early
I
2000s.
don't just mean performance.
Yeah.
Well, realistically, the one year they were an outsider for the championship with Howard
Was it 2002, was that, or 2003?
He was still in contention to that up to the last race, I think.
Mm.
But like no other team has marketed themselves as well as Jordan did.
No, agreed.
You always used to say they were the original rock and roll team.
Yeah,
Yeah. Does anybody remember when they bought the Martin Brundle's Jordan over for TT one
Yes.
year?
Yeah. They was
Couldn't
down the key.
It was, yeah. I couldn't believe how small it was.
No.
It was the first time I'd actually seen a Formula One car in.
No,
in,
it's
in
just that
real
you need
life.
to stop being so tall.
They had Damon Hills over as well, didn't they? There was because Jordan brought a show car over for a couple of TTs
Right,
on
okay.
bounce.
I don't remember seeing that one, but yeah,
Hills
the
one's here.
yeah, that wouldn't be necessarily a bad idea for them to sort of revert to a Jordan Formula One team, just to maybe buy the naming rights off Eddie Jordan and just
Yeah.
see if they could keep it running. But the team needs something. This isn't the savior of the team. They're treading water. They're in deep water and they're treading it.
I wonder if you need to.
I'd say Williams are probably a bit further out in the deep water and probably struggling a little bit more.
I no, I don't.
But-
don't forget they've got the historic winners money to go on, and the
I
fact
think
that-
Williams' team are struggling more,
Yeah.
but Williams' company
Technology.
is struggling
Yeah.
less.
Yeah, that's probably a fair way of putting it. But yeah, I just think that it's nice for Force India, but it's not a solution.
no.
Possibly. While we're on the subject of Williams, after what Craig Scarborough was saying the other week about the random aerodynamic stalls on the wings,
Yeah.
their chief aerodynamicist has left or stepped down.
Yeah, Dirk de Beer, which is
Yes.
a great name. Yeah, he's with immediate effect, which is rare. He's just gone.
Yeah.
It's got to be to do with the poor performance of the aerodynamic performance of this year's Williams. Didn't see or hear anything of the random aerodynamic stalling in Monaco. So I wonder if it's only on lower aerodynamic. A question we might have to put to Scarbs next time we speak to him.
I
But I wonder if it's just under low
you say we
aerodynamic.
didn't see anything of it, but the cars performed abysmally.
Yeah, and
there.
they were
the cars
last.
were absolutely terrible. They were the
Yeah.
last two of the finishers.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
They were slow round Monaco.
Yeah.
So that was, I think we can actually say that was the slowest performance we'll see from an F1 car this season, because when you're the last finishers at the slowest track on the calendar, you can't get slower than that.
I wonder whether your man leaving Williams is a sacked thing. Like, has he done his job badly and that's why the car's gone?
Or has he-
he left because of a frustration thing where he's not being given...
Or is it completely unrelated?
Yeah.
It could be unrelated, but I think my personal feeling
I'd
on
be
it.
surprised if it was unrelated.
Yeah, my personal feeling on it, and it is just a personal feeling. Please don't take this as being anything more than that. No, it's not gospel at all. But bless you, Dan. Thank you. I think he's perhaps realised that his philosophy or his way of doing things at Williams hasn't worked. So, as respect to the team, listen, guys, all of this is my fault. I said this aerodynamic package would work, and the buck stops with me. I'll step away from the team and allow you to fix it without me.
So
because-
many moving parts in a Formula One team. I don't ever think that it's like when people praise
Adrian Newey?
for things. No, yeah, Adrian Newey clearly is a very clever man.
Yeah.
But behind Adrian Newey, there is a team
Of course,
very
yeah,
clever
yeah.
men.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if Red Bull had an awful aerodynamic
very clever
package,
people.
yeah. If Red Bull had an awful aerodynamic package and we had aero stalling and those cars were just not sticking to the track where they should be and things like
Yeah.
that, then the buck would stop with Adrian Newey because he is the head of that
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
department. Which is why I understand why Dirk de Beer has been like, all right, you know what, buck stops with me. I've got to go. In order to, somebody
How
new
long's
to
he
come
been
in
there
and sort
for?
this out. I don't know. I don't think he's been there particularly
Start of last year.
long time. Yeah, start of last year. So he brought in the same time as Paddy Lowe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, whatever he's been working on for this year's car, which is when he will have started,
Not worked.
it's not worked. So his entire time at Williams has been basically in the bin. Yeah, Williams needs to sort that out. We don't like to see any team struggling, but especially not Williams.
I just can't see. I can't see a way out for Williams.
Losing their Martini sponsorship, the drivers aren't on form.
But haven't we said the same thing in the past about Force India? That the car's a dog, can't see it getting better, they've got no money.
Yeah, but they've
And
always-
then they make a couple of small changes and suddenly
I mean,
everything comes
Yeah,
together.
their driver lineup, so Force India's driver lineup has always been pretty strong since we've been doing this podcast. It's Perez and Hulkenberg or Perez and Ocon.
Yeah.
So their driver lineup, they have the drivers. Force India have the drivers that will perform as good as the car can perform, and on the odd occasion, maybe even with a clever strategy, outperform the car. But Williams don't have that. Williams have got Lance Stroll, who hates the car and has been very public with it, saying when he was asked what's the problem with the car, everything: straight, pre-corner, mid-corner, post-corner, awful. The whole thing, terrible car. And I don't know how we fix it because he hasn't got the experience.
No.
Now, if that was Fernando Alonso in there, he'd be like, right, okay, guys, this is what we talked about before about Alonso's dossier that he was like 40-page dossier he created or something after his first LMP race in United Autosports. This is what I'm feeling in the car. This is usually connected to this, but I understand that you're the engineers and you've got to do. But this is how Lance Stroll can't do that. Neither can Sergei Sorokin because they don't have the experience in the car. They don't have an experienced driver. Yes, all right, they've got Robert Kubica working in the background.
He's not an experienced driver anymore, though. We can't look at him as an experienced driver in modern Formula One.
Because
the whole aero and engine has changed since he last drove regularly. He's experienced at driving.
Yeah. So I think not having an experienced driver, someone like Felipe Massa, for example, is hurting Williams as well, cause in a feedback sense, because all the drivers could say is it's rubbish, and they don't know why it's rubbish.
Tell you what,
well, they do know they know that they've got these random aerodynamic stalls, which sounds like a huge problem. That if you fixed that, then the drivers could have more confidence in the car. With more confidence in the car, they'd be further up the grid. They could maybe give more useful feedback than it's rubbish everywhere, because if you're suddenly losing downforce with no apparent reason, then it is just going to be rubbish everywhere, isn't it?
Here's an idea. Why don't Williams switch back to last year's car?
I've no idea.
But if they're getting the random aerodynamic fails, this is this year's aero package, and last year's aero package will be completely out of balance.
Had the T-wing.
This year's car.
Can't use that.
You could use modern this year's rules on last year's car.
But the bits of the new technical regulation parts that are on this year's aero package might not work with last year's car because it wasn't designed to have that kind of balance.
Yeah, I just don't think they're that different that you'd be able to at least cobble something together that is better than having a car that aerodynamically stalls completely randomly.
But I wonder if you're better off trying to cobble something together. Formula Ones are rarely cobbled together.
Yeah.
And
Unless you're Toro Rosso.
Yeah, or Braun. Or that seemed to work okay.
Yeah.
But
what fits in this hole? Mercedes?
Yeah. Jensen.
No, that's where the drinks bottle goes.
So I think they're better off keeping this car but trying to solve the problem.
Yeah, which is what they're trying to do. I mean, they're saying that they've got Alex Burts has said that there's new upgrades to practically everything coming before the summer break. I think they'll be drip fed in.
Yeah.
Because you can't just put a whole new package together at once and hope to God it works.
McLaren.
So that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like there's going to be new upgrades to the car being drip fed in between now and the summer break, which is what is desperately needed. And then for the second half of the season, then they can refine what they've put on. This season's already a write-off for Williams.
It's got to be. I mean, they got did they get points in Baku? They scored points in Baku, didn't they? But
they can score points. They can potentially not come last if things don't go. If things turn around for them.
Well, look at the difference in the street circuit between Baku and Monaco. All right, you had Spain in the middle of them, but Baku, they were straight line speed, got that Mercedes power, low aerodynamic setup, scored points.
Also, lots of straights in Baku.
Yeah,
Very,
Monaco, high aero,
yeah,
tight and twisty, car's terrible. So looking at, I know we're not doing a preview yet, but looking at like Canada this coming weekend, long straights, low aero setup. Are we going to see sort of again troubling the points for Williams?
Stroll, if I remember rightly, last year, it was the beginning of his good race, wasn't it? He was seventh.
Yeah. it was the one where, he's come good at his home race. This might give him the confidence to
Yeah.
actually start doing things.
Yeah, so Canada, and then I'm just looking at the calendar there on Dan's Cup. Not sure about the setup of the circuit at Le Castellet. Don't know what they'll go for that. But
No,
Austria,
there is a long straight at Le Castellet, so,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of twisty bits.
so Austria, you're looking at not
Fast
particularly.
and-
Yeah,
A ring, isn't it?
yeah. Silverstone again. And then you've got the classic races. You've got Monza in Belgium, and then a few flyaway races. Very few of them are high downfall setups. Hungary is obviously high downfall.
Yeah, Williams at the moment are going to be, I would probably say 3 laps behind at least in Hungary,
Maybe,
unless things change.
but they might be able to maximise what I was just saying then with the faster tracks. They might be able to trouble the points here and there.
Yeah,
if
but
they're good in a straight line.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that in Hungary.
How many
No.
laps were they down at Monaco?
I think Sorokin was 2 down.
It's always a good indication of Hungary, isn't it, Monaco?
Yeah.
So yeah, Williams do desperately need these upgrades.
They do.
Another thing on Aero, Nico Rosberg, you called it a face turn last week.
Yeah.
Bring back ground effect.
Yeah, I think I'm going to sign Nico Rosberg up as the technical director of Formula Chris.
Do we play that one on Project Cars?
You can do. Do you remember when we were all talking about how we fix Formula One? And one of the things I said was load up the floors with the aero, get rid of the top. Martin Brundle's already said it on Sky commentary. And now Nico Rosberg said, after following his dad's car around and actually seeing how the ground effect worked, because of course they did that parade lap around Monaco, the two Rosbergs. Keke in his 82 Williams and Nico in his 2016 Mercedes. Nico, something that appears to have clicked in Nico, where he's just been like, "Oh, hang on a second, the cars could follow each other like really closely in '82, and they didn't have all these top level aero. It was all ground effect under the floor, which of course they got rid of after the Senna
There
accident.
wasn't even a front wing on Keke Rosberg's
Well,
car.
there was, but it was
Minuscule.
it was a plank basically.
Yeah.
Finlets.
Yeah, and so I agree with Nico Rosberg completely about bringing back ground effect. Now, they got rid of it, as I say, after the accident that killed Ayrton Senna, but that was a knee-jerk reaction. Like, do you remember for the rest of the '94 season, like for example, Eau Rouge in Belgium was made into a chicane, and stuff like that. Knee-jerk reaction. Right, no more ground effect because it makes people have high-speed accidents like Barrichello's and Senna's.
Since Ayrton Senna's death, Formula One has been a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah,
It's
What they need to do is
What was it? The straight's longer than 200 metres. Put a chicane in it. The cars are too
do you remember
grippy.
Canada
Drill
as well?
holes in the airbox.
Yeah.
Do you remember Canada as well?
Yeah, well, what was it called? The Beirut chicane halfway down the straight.
Oh, it was more than that. It was like 2 or 3 chicanes, wasn't it? Halfway down the straight from the hairpin, just to slow Formula One cars down. It was ridiculous. Until John Lacey ploughed into them all because they were only made of tyres.
Yeah. Good idea, lads.
No, it wasn't. But that's one of the ideas that needs to look at being reversed. It really does. It's been 24 years now since Ayrton Senna's death, and at the time, remove ground effect because it caused accidents. Then need to look at how you can reuse it.
How you can use it and make it not cause accidents.
Use it in a safe manner. I mean, there's already some form of ground effect in if you look at like a top-down view of like the Ferrari, for example, and the Red Bull, they've got those cuts in the floor to allow air to flow up from underneath the floor. That's a kind of a ground effect.
Yeah,
thing.
because I mean, they normally run with a rake that high that the holes in the floor pull the car down, but not so low as to scuff the plank.
Yeah, exactly. But
I still find it amazing that with all the technology that goes into Formula One, the measure of how high a car can run is a 2x4,
Yeah.
and they use a ruler at the end just to see if your cars run too low.
yeah. 'Cause was it Schumacher? Was it in the Benetton that did that in '95?
Yeah, and he scrubbed more than the allowed 10 millimeters off.
Yeah.
Because they measured it and they actually used a ruler.
Because essentially, if you think about it, it's a very, very primitive way of doing it, but it works because All right, here's a block of wood underneath. Now, when you're driving over the tarmac surface, essentially, if that touches the surface, that's a 200-mile-an-hour belt sander.
Yeah.
So it's gonna skim it off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that'd be like us recording the podcast on your Mac, but it's powered by a battery made of potatoes and lemons.
Yes.
Challenge accepted.
Alexa, order potatoes and lemons.
Oh, she's not plugged in, is she?
No, but other people's might be.
Oh,
you got,
dear.
you got all the technology in this room
Oh.
hooked up to a Baghdad battery.
That strange timer that I showed you about at yours as well last week.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, which it's more of a Patreon one, that isn't it? That I should probably put that on next week's Patreon.
Yeah, we'll talk about Joanna Lumley timers then.
Yeah. Very bizarre. But yeah.
Where are we next? Kimmy's filed a complaint about being extorted by some woman in Canada. We're going to gloss over this because it's legal proceedings.
Yeah, we
and,
can't talk too much about this, but it's worth
unfortunately,
mentioning.
they don't have court sessions on a Monday, so we can't on a Sunday. I don't know when are we?
Basically, we can't win anyway. You can't, regardless of what your opinion on is. We don't have any facts.
Yeah.
And if you happen to say something in situations like this, you're probably going to come out being a cunt on either side of it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
And possibly being fined.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kimi Räikkönen has filed an extortion complaint after complaints about something that happened at the Canadian Grand Prix a couple of
Something
years
that
ago.
allegedly happened.
Allegedly happened at the Canadian Grand Prix a couple of years ago. And that's where we're going to leave that.
Yeah.
So there is a story for you to keep your eye out on, and we will comment ourselves on social media when it is legal and appropriate to do so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're banning Lee from the social media account until a legal decision's been reached.
Wow.
Helmut Marko. Let's talk about something we can talk about.
Helmut Marko being Ron Dennis.
Yeah, this is very weird. Helmut Marko is usually to the point. He will, I mean, you know the saying, he calls a spade, not a flattened, galvanized iron digging device with a wooden handle for appropriate
For
grip
optimal-
Yeah,
that can move Earth from a below situation to an above situation.
I think you'll find that's ground displacement.
I like it. Ground displacement device. Yes. Welcome to the McLaren shovel.
But Helmut Marko has described Brendan Hartley's performance as not pleasing.
Yeah, well, I think it's a situation, isn't it?
situation.
The situation
Situation,
surrounding
yeah.
Brendan Hartley
Unlike
is
his
not pleasing.
Fabulous hair.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is going to prove that hair may not make a driver.
Well, I just don't think he's given the opportunity.
Yeah. I don't know that Brendan Hartley's
He's working with Orion Schuberth to get a helmet design that will let him keep the hair going.
Yeah, I don't know that Brendan Hartley's been given a fair crack of the whip. I mean, he had...
Of course not, he's in a Toro Rosso. Nobody gets a fair crack of the whip in
No,
one
but
of them.
Gasly is, like, destroying him in
Yeah.
that car. But the...
I think Gasly's had some bits of luck that Hartley hasn't had.
yeah, but Hartley's got Antipodean Red Bull luck.
Yeah.
Which means he's going to have all of the failures and all of the traffic.
Yeah.
At Monaco, he was well. His practice pace would have put him well inside Q3, but because of the traffic that he kept encountering out on the circuit, when
it was
there
a
were
pain in the antipodes.
yeah,
I'm
he
on form today.
he made he didn't manage to get a good lap in Q1 and was knocked out of the qualifying session, but it was. And in Monaco, you don't get to pass. But I mean, had Hartley made Q3,
What was it? Is in Q1 because he had 3 or 4 goes at it, and his ideal lap comprised of his best sector times would have put him something like 7th.
yeah, he would have been well inside Q3. But yeah, so I don't know. Don't put him back through the Red Bull meat grinder just yet. I mean, all right, he tried to get his feet back under the table with a few races at the end of last year.
Unfortunately, I think he's booked his place there now.
Yeah, but the we're only 6 races in this year, and you will find that a driver has less luck than another one. Gasly is doing extremely well in that Toro Rosso, but that doesn't mean that Hartley's doing very poorly. It means he's just not been able to match Gasly through luck and through through performance as well. But I also don't see who else they can replace him with.
No,
I think they've got Hartley
isn't
until
a sensible person to have in that team. That team should be for people who are likely to go to Red Bull.
I don't think Brendan Hartley ever is.
No.
You know?
But they'd
I'm not
run
sure
out of-
Gasly will, to be fair.
Possibly in a few years' time, if
But you don't get a few years in Toro Rosso, do you?
No, I mean,
well, Sainz did.
but like,
Yeah, but he had to kick and scream to actually get out of there when he was more than capable of driving a car for a big boy team.
If
Yeah.
Danny Rick goes, let's hypothetically say Danny Rick goes somewhere else, even though it's all been officially denied by everybody. Danny Rick goes to Mercedes next year,
I will write the speculation corner jingle one of these days.
and and Max Verstappen goes, end of not 2018, not 2019, sorry, but 2020. He goes, you know what, I'm sick of this, I'm off.
Yeah.
And
Or
Verstappen
goes to NASCAR where he can finally do the rubbing his racing bit.
yeah, absolutely. Then you're looking at probably Sainz and Gasly in a Red Bull.
I
as
think
the
you'll find
heir
Red
apparent.
Bull, if Red Bull carries on, especially if they get the hookup with Aston Martin, like it seems to be going to happen, I think you'll find that Red Bull are going to start being more of a Formula One team because they can't just promote like in-house all the time and expect to constantly have
the best.
the driver that's worthy of the car he's in.
But the thing is, the junior program's been through that many drivers that they would hope that they will, out of the 70 that have been through. That's probably increased since we looked at it a few weeks ago. There's
yeah.
probably it's probably about 73 or 74 by now. 70 drivers in 10 years
Yeah.
since they started the junior program.
70 drivers in, one world champion.
Yeah, they
One
are-
who looks, well, maybe two. No, one if you count Ricardo, who looks like he could be
Yeah.
a world champion. Verstappen, I'm not counting because he didn't come up through the program.
No.
Yeah, no. Ricardo, I think, is in for a shout at the World Championship this year if Red Bull can develop that car properly.
Well, we can use this as well, can't we? Because it works well with what we're talking about. Ricardo has turned around and said that if he can win one more race before the summer break, he's an outsider for the championship.
I don't think he's an outsider.
That's his words.
Yeah, I think he's actually downplaying the hyping that he's getting because don't forget he's won as many races as everybody else has this year.
Well, let's
Yeah,
face
6
it.
races
But
in.
his car is clearly the third best
Yeah.
after
It's
the
all
Ferraris
down
and Mercedes.
to it's all down to Renault's upgrade that they're bringing to Canada.
Yeah.
Renault's upgrade and also the second half of the season upgrades when it becomes really tight with
Well,
aero packages and stuff.
Red Bull can develop a car. We
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that.
I know
that
that,
car
yeah.
is going to get better through
Yeah,
the
I mean-
course of the year.
I mean, you know for a fact that Red Bull are going to get the upgrade because the most inaccurate Formula One site in the world has said that they're not getting it. So it's a shoe-in.
Yeah, pretty
well,
much.
I think
I'm still not saying who that is.
I think the Renault upgrade is going to be a surprise for everybody because they're not talking it up. They've just been quiet because of it. It was only a couple of weeks ago that they said they weren't bringing it for Canada, didn't they?
And now they
under reliability things.
Yeah.
Now they are.
Is it both cars in all Renault powered?
I think it's all Renault powered cars.
Now
So
if-
it's
We do.
McLaren.
We do know that it's not an upgrade to the MG UK because this was one for the Canada preview.
Yeah.
But Red Bull have said that Danny Rick's MG UK that failed in Monaco was repairable and he's going to be using the same one so as not to take a penalty. So whatever Renault have got in that upgrade, it's in a different component. So we do know that much.
Yeah.
But we don't. But they've not said what it is. It's just there's upgrades.
well. I thought it was basically a whole new combustion engine.
If it's a new combustion engine, then that should be interesting to see.
Because the talking that's been coming out about the new engine is that Renault think that this can put them on par with Mercedes and Ferrari. I don't see any reason why not. I mean,
And if
like,
it does, then Red Bull will be right up there,
yeah, Renault is one of the most successful manufacturers of engines in Formula One.
especially over the last 20 years.
Yeah, so like,
I mean, what's the power deficit at the moment? It's something like about 30 or 40 HP
something
down.
like that, yeah.
I mean, it's not completely unfeasible, I guess, to upgrade the engine that much to get that big a jump
And
in
let's
power.
face it, they are closer this year than they were last year without this upgrade.
Yeah.
But don't forget as well, I think you said it as well before, Lee, Mercedes are not using the full potential of that engine. They're using it enough so that they're keeping where they towards the front. I think
Didn't Mercedes do a full redesign over
Yeah,
Yes.
it was.
Over
It's,
winter.
it's a they were the first ones to come out and say the engine's a completely new redesign. It's not an upgrade. So there are no 2017 components in
In the
any part of that
2018
powertrain.
engine,
Hence
So-
the reason they're chocker about the idea of changing the engine regs in 2021.
Yeah, but also look at everybody who's changed engine parts so far this season. Everyone has changed an engine part so far this season, apart from people who run Mercedes.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think Williams have changed one engine part. Sorry, I think.
Yeah, I think Sorokin's had one failure.
Yeah, but Mercedes power units reliable, and that's what they're going for. Mercedes are banking on reliability, and when the power unit failures and the grid penalties come in later on in the season, that's when Mercedes are hoping to make their gains.
Yeah, I'd have thought so.
But we think as well, we don't know for sure, but we think that Mercedes just keeping it on the dial enough so that they're at the front, but the reliability is remaining. If Renault come along and be like, we've got a faster engine than you guys now, we had a 35 horsepower deficit, we've now got 35 horsepower advantage. I think Mercedes can go just knock that up from 6 to 7.
This is like a bit of a controversial thing to say, but given the
What from you?
Yep. But
Bloody hell!
given the way that Mercedes and Ferrari have been in cahoots with each other, you know, about the upcoming rules and stuff like that, I don't put it past collusion with season fixing between them with the way Formula One is.
Mercedes, you mean?
Yeah, and Ferrari,
And
to
Ferrari.
make themselves look like, to give the, because
I think season fixing is very clearly against the Formula One rules.
of course.
I think Mercedes and Ferrari are just being very good, especially Mercedes,
No,
at
but let's-
winning as
let's-
slowly as
yeah, but-
possible.
No, but let's not forget Ferrari right up there this year. Why are Ferrari right up there? Because Mercedes helped Ferrari. Let's not forget that. Mercedes sent people to help Ferrari.
And I think that's been a little bit blown out of proportion.
I don't think it is, because of look where Ferrari were to where they are.
Yeah, in that sporting regulations meant that they had to explain themselves
Yeah.
and what they were doing with their equipment,
Do you know what that's,
which is what
do you know what
Ferrari
that's called in Lee World? Fucking cover story.
which is what Ferrari have had to do. You're Captain Conspiracy Theory.
Yeah.
Which is what Ferrari have had to do now with their MGU-H, is it? Or, no, MGU-K, sorry. They're, where they had to explain what they were doing early season, thinking that the battery might have been used in unscrupulous ways.
Yeah.
I think were the terms that the FIA used. That's all been cleared up and is fine. Now, Mercedes weren't bothered by that. Now, if you were Ferrari's main rivals, you would say, hang on a second, what's this?
Yeah, and the thing was...
Clear it up. Mercedes were all like, oh, you know what? It happens to everyone.
Yeah, and also given the fact that Toto Wolff chastised one of his own employees for calling into question the legality of the Ferrari. I'm not being funny. If I owned a team and my main competitor, someone in my team thought our main competitor was illegal, then I'd want them to bring that up.
Yeah.
Unless it's a case of we don't really want them looking too closely at our car. Let's not
Could
look
be.
too closely at theirs.
That could be a
To be
good.
perfectly honest, I think
comeback.
you'd be hard pushed if you actually looked at a Ferrari and you were allowed to like scrutinise it properly. You'd probably be hard pushed to find the Ferrari that was legal over the last decade.
Decade.
Schumacher joined in '96.
Talking to Ferrari and their energy systems and how legal they are or not. There's there's a feature on Motorsport TV this week where Craig Scarborough goes through Ferrari's dual battery system, the one that's confused the FIA. It's probably worth taking a look at that,
Right.
because no one seems to know how it works and what it does outside of Maranello.
Magic.
Including the FIA. I think they bring the energy recovery in by owl every morning.
There
A
were
bit like the way you get your internet at this part of Douglas.
there was a completely legal and allowed Ferrari run at Fiorano Maranello's circuit. Was it last weekend before, possibly?
I don't know, I missed this.
Danny Kvyat and somebody else, Giovinazzi. Kvyat and Giovinazzi ran a very old Ferrari. And he just thought, well, why are they running very old Ferraris around a circuit on a day where they don't appear to need to?
Because they'll both prang them and Ferrari want the insurance money.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2014 or 2015 Ferraris, which, in the rules, you have to. It has to be at least 2 years old, doesn't
Yeah,
it? If you're
It's,
doing
it's
any
either 2
season
or
test?
3, yeah.
Yeah, so they complied with that, but it just seems a bit, a bit odd as to maybe it was to measure old MG UK performance against current MG UK performance.
Do you think it's like the Second World War when they used to put the cardboard cutouts of tanks up?
fake
you've got-
airfields.
Yeah, so you've got like this year's car driving around a track, but it's got 2 cardboard cutouts of a 20-foot Team Ferrari stuck to either side.
Maybe. That's one of my favourite stories of World War II as well. When I think both sides did it, didn't they? Put up like cardboard and paper airfields to make it look like it was an actual working airfield, well, knowing full well that the enemy would fly over and bomb
Yeah.
it, waste their bombs on some fabric.
Yeah.
They did more than that. My aunt lives on or by huge open fields
Yeah.
in the north of Shropshire, and there was a thing called Project Starfish there during the war,
Yeah.
where they built a fake Liverpool.
Oh, right. Okay, to make it look like that was
So-
Liverpool.
and had lights in the windows and stuff. So when Liverpool was blacked out during the night, there was a fake Liverpool that the bombers would bomb.
That's pretty clever.
amazing.
Because it's big open fields as well. You'd think that the darkness surrounding it was the sea.
Yeah.
That's very clever.
So the city where you can get a knockoff version of anything had its own knockoff version.
Indeed.
So yes, this old Ferrari that was running around, but everyone was wondering why the rear wing that said Parmalat had DRS on it.
Nicky Lauda's never used DRS, did he?
He opened it up a few times. What else have we got? Checo Perez got married.
He did. So he's
Congratulations.
Congratulations to Checo Perez for getting married.
And Mrs. Perez.
And Mrs. Perez.
Yeah, it helps to congratulate both sides of the arrangement.
Yes, the new Mr. and Mrs. Perez. Now they had a child in
Perez's.
the Perez's. They had a child over the winter. Does that mean that Checo's now even slower than he was over the winter? Because they say, well, no, I mean they say that you lose 3/10 for a child. Was it the famous Alonso Schumacher quote? You lose
It goes back further than that. It was Schumacher saying it about Damon Hill.
Was it?
Yeah.
You lose 3/10, and then Alonso used it on
Yeah,
Schumacher.
what was it? You lose 3/10 for every child, and Damon's got 3 of them. I've won this year.
Yeah, and then Alonso managed to turn that round after that move at 130R.
Yeah.
How did you know he was going to back out? He's got kids. And now Perez is married with child. Is he lost 3/10 a lap? Is that because when Michael Schumacher got married, he wasn't
Does that mean Ocon shit? Because he's lost 3/10. And like it's only been recently that Ocon's been sort of on the same level as him. He, for the beginning of the season, he got taken care of.
He did a little bit, yeah. So maybe that falls in. He's actually better than we think it is. But
is.
marriage and children makes it
Just hemorrhaging time because of kids.
maybe Ocon's worried about getting punched in. Was it Ocon that got punched in the face during junior Formula by somebody?
Possibly, yes.
Yeah.
I can understand it though. Like I can understand.
What,
it.
you want to punch Ocon in the face?
No, he seems so smiley and nice. But no, I can understand on the time thing for drivers because obviously that's a really dangerous thing. But I know since having a child myself, doing stuff at work,
You drive carefully as well.
But not so much the driving, but certainly putting.
Does getting to work take 3/10 more of a second?
Yeah.
Every rung of the ladder that he goes up 3/10 longer.
Well, no, but that's what I mean. Like all of a sudden, sticking planks on stupid things and having planks off, like zip up scaffolds onto roofs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Now feels a little bit more of a risk.
Yeah. Can you have
So now you hire a flat earther to do it for you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I did.
Yeah. Let's have a go in your cherry picker. Not quick enough. Can I have it quicker?
That was a
Wrong.
day.
If you want to know more, that's on last week's Patreon show.
That's worth the entrance fee alone.
Yeah. That Patreon story is worth it. Yeah.
So if you want to find out what the hell we're going on about, if you go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels, you can sign up and subscribe to Patreon there. And you get access to all the Patreon shows. Talking of which, who was it? I think it was Robert Higgins said that he's got a 12-hour driving round trip coming up in the next few weeks, and he's only got as far as Patreon show 19, so he's going to listen to as many as he can during this road trip.
Well, if he's got a road trip, he can also listen to Must See Audio because there's tons of content for that now, which is my other podcast.
Yeah.
Still within the first hour.
Yep.
I mean, the other week it was within the first minute. Talking of bizarre things you can do on the internet and social media. Hashtag Jack Attack.
Now, we did give you a warning earlier on in the podcast that this was happening. It
And
is
earlier
happening.
on in the year.
Yes.
Yeah, and earlier on in the show.
Yeah. Now,
And constantly throughout the last 3 years since we discovered it. And unfortunately, right now, we are going to say it, baby.
yeah, of course we are. Jacques Villeneuve's song "Fooling Around" or "Foolin'."
Foolin'.
Not no G.
No G, there's an apostrophe instead.
"Fooling Around." It's a song that we played on the podcast. What, like 4 months ago?
About that, yeah.
And we said that we were going to push it for Canadian GP Week in order to get it up as high in as many charts around the world as we possibly could.
This may or may not work, but the downside of this is people are going to have to listen to it.
No, you don't have to listen to it. You just have to buy it.
And then, or if you
Or
stream
stream
it
it.
and mute it,
Yeah.
just mute your computer.
If you've got if you've got Wi-Fi, you know, stick your phone on charge at night time. Choose "Fooling Around." Is he on Spotify?
It's on Spotify.
It's on
as well.
Spotify.
It's on the album Private Paradise.
Yeah. So go on, find the track "Fooling Around," start playing it as you go to sleep at night time. Put it on mute because you'll have terrible nightmares otherwise. Put it on mute. Put your phone on mute and just have it streaming quietly in the background for 8-9 hours that you sleep, however long it is that you sleep.
Yeah.
Because one stream does not equal one purchase when it comes to downloading a music. Trust us, we're musicians. We've found this out. So stream it at night time.
Buy it from Apple. Buy it from Amazon.
Yeah, buy it from all of them. Sign up just to buy it.
Yep.
And-
we will put links on all our socials.
And send us pictures of you purchasing it and you will be put up on our wall of fame.
I can't help think.
Or send us pictures of your reaction after listening to it, and you can go on our wall of hell.
I can't help think that if we'd done something with such vigor like as we've done this, that actually benefits us, it would have been nice.
But we know we have many listeners who like to do things for us, which is good.
We also know that we have many listeners who are as sick and twisted as us, and that's why
This
we're
is
doing
true.
this.
Yeah. So for the
But
yeah,
you know, tell other people on Facebook, tell other people on Twitter. Use the hashtag Jack Attack.
we've got a Facebook event set up. Very few people have said that they are in inverted quotes going.
Oh, that's
Wonder
good.
why.
That's getting the hell promoted out of it over the
yeah.
next week.
Yeah.
From
So
when I get home and switch my computer on.
yeah, it's getting shared. It's get it bought.
I can't in good conscience do it.
Oh well, that's not a problem because you don't have,
don't
a,
have a
you don't have a
conscience.
conscience,
No.
good or bad.
Yeah.
So just imagine the surprise on Jacques Villeneuve's face when he gets a phone call from the BBC. Jacques, you're in the top 40 in in the UK charts. Any idea why that might be? And his only response is, "It's a Canadian Grand Prix this week." I don't understand.
And
So-
then he'll have to come and speak to us.
yeah, so start buying it now and buy it as many times as you like, up to Friday. Don't buy it after Friday. Well, you can buy it after Friday if you
You
really
might
want
after
to.
Friday if you're a real masochist.
Yeah, but buy it from now. Absolutely buy the hell out of it until this coming Friday. Friday the something of 9th, is it?
Yes.
Friday the 9th of June. So if you're listening after Friday the 9th of June and you've just bought it, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, if you're listening to it.
Or actually, I'm going to go full on Bob Geldof. Buy it, delete it, and then rebuy it. From all platforms.
Fuck off, you rich prick.
Yeah, Bob Geldof, you're worth like over 30 million. Why don't you give some money?
Yeah, no, it's all right. I've got this rubber bracelet on.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Saying to make poverty history?
Yeah.
All right,
I
okay.
basically fixed the world.
Oh, brilliant! Well done, Lee. How? So all the poor people are giving like a percentage of what they have. What are you giving, Bob?
Well, you see these little wristbands. You can take them and you give them to the poor people, and then they can use them as snares to catch small animals, and then give a man a band, and he can feed his family for a week.
Teach him how to band and he'll eat forever.
Yes.
That's how Oasis came about.
Yeah, I prefer the. Terry,
I'm in a band, you know. I was in a band.
Yeah, I prefer the Terry Pratchett one. Give a man a fire, and he'll be warm for a day. Set him on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life.
That's good. I like that. Let's start with Bob.
Let's start with the Canadian Grand Prix preview.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Annual barbecue, Bob.
We have the Canadian Grand Prix coming up this weekend, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
Yep.
Power circuit with twisty bits, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Low aero setup, as I said earlier.
Now that the dash chicane's been removed
yeah,
24 years ago.
Yeah, most of the there's only really a couple of tight sections. All the other corners were really like opening and flowing, aren't they? You just got the hairpin at one end, and then you've got the turns 1 and 2, and
I was
that's
gonna
about
say,
it, really.
I was going to say the first two turns are a little bit tight coming off the start finish straight,
Yeah.
which is at the end of the second DRS. Well, the first DRS section, but the second one's the final straight.
Yeah.
And of course, it's the chicane by the Wall of Champions.
Yeah, but they fly through that. It's not a slow chicane.
It's sped up in recent years because the cars can actually grip it better and they can take more speed through it. I
Yeah.
think have they actually widened that out a little bit because it was causing too many problems?
I don't know. I think the inside of the first turn might have moved the barriers or the walls back a bit further, just so that psychologically it's opened up a bit so that it looks faster.
My friends cycled around that circuit.
Yeah, it's not an open road as such. It's a road round a park,
Yeah, it's
much like Albert
It's
Park
a
in
it's like-
Australia.
it's like
functional roundabout.
Yeah.
It's like Albert Park, described by Carlos Sainz in the official Renault press release as the Canadian Grand Prix circuit is different to anywhere else. It's very similar to Albert Park.
Genius.
He's been taking the Murray Walker school
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
describing things.
Yeah, the car in front is absolutely unique except for the car that's following it. So
Which is identical.
yeah, which is different. So Albert Park is different in similar ways to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Albert Park doesn't have a raft race though. Canada does.
Although there are the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is on an island in the middle of a river, isn't it?
Yes.
And
So as I found out was the Detroit IndyCar circuit. I thought, knowing it was in somewhere called Belle Isle. Belle Isle to me is one of the roughest council estates in Leeds, where
Sounds rough.
where you can't actually leave a car because
Right.
it'll either get stolen or burnt out. I didn't realise that they had one in Detroit that was actually an aisle.
one of those places where you lock your doors when you stop at traffic lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to work in car insurance, and anyone that lived in that particular postcode, their premiums were about 3 times the rest of anywhere else in Leeds.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Yes. But going back to Canada, it's going to be quick. So I think we can say that Williams are going to struggle.
No, I don't think they will. I think, as we were saying before, it's just a low downforce setup, and they did really well in Azerbaijan. So I think Williams will probably be troubling the points.
The problem is though you've got fast sections with a couple of fast sections with pretty heavy braking at the end, because the braking coming into turn 1 and the braking coming into the hairpin, and Williams have had trouble with brake
It's still a low
temperatures.
downforce circuit, though. isn't
Yeah,
it?
I think Williams they'll probably be towards the back end of the field, but anyone in this field this year can trouble the points.
Yeah.
And I think Williams could be troubling the points.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there's 20 cars and only the top 10 score points. So, it literally is a 50-50
Might be a
chance.
good race for Sorokin again. And like we said before, it's
Stroll's home race as
Stroll's
well.
home race. He did well last year. There's no reason to think that they're going to be
I don't
like a
think they'll
shit
do as
show.
badly as they did in Monaco, put it that way.
No.
But more of an Azerbaijan race.
I
than-
did better in Monaco than they did.
More of an Azerbaijan style race than Monaco. But more similar to Albert Park.
because it's different.
Yeah.
I do like the old like semi-street circuits. I think
Yeah.
they work
Yeah.
well.
They've changed the layout of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve over the years, but it's been its current layout for 20 years now, something like that.
About that, yeah.
Yeah.
I just like circuits that look a little bit like laser guns. It looks a bit like a gun.
Remember in that huge accident that Robert Kubica had? Was it 2007?
Oh yeah.
2007, where he
Destroyed the car apart from the
completely
monocoque.
destroyed the car and a couple of walls at the same time.
He Star Foxed it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Let's do a barrel roll.
Yeah. And then he came back in 2008 and won it.
Still Sauber's only win to date.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Sauber are going to be that high up in the standings over the coming weekend. Although, they had a fairly quiet weekend at Monaco,
They just had
not-
an exciting qualifying. That was all,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah. I'm not sure. Charles Leclerc, okay, a couple of points finishes, didn't do so well on his home race. Not really his fault.
I was a little upset by Sauber. I thought they were going to do better during the race in Monaco.
Yeah.
I thought maybe a point for them somewhere, you know, because I actually took some money on him finishing top 6.
Yeah. But it'd be interesting to see if this is like a reset for them going back to how they were pre-Monaco. Sort of, again, like Williams, back end of the points, possibly if things happen up a little bit further up the road than them. And another team or two are struggling.
Yeah.
So if Williams do struggle, or if Haas, continue their issues that they had at Monaco, then that puts Sauber right up there. And the fight from like 10th place in the Constructors' Championship all the way up to 5th, I think is going to be really tight for the rest of the season.
I think you're right.
Well, I mean, it depends on these Renault upgrades, because you could then see if these upgrades are as good as they might be. You could see Renault and McLaren pulling away,
Yeah.
and leaving Force India, Toro Rosso, and Sauber, and Williams
And Haas, yeah.
and House just drifting a little bit.
Yeah, it's possible. As I say, Sauber's an interesting one as well with this year's Ferrari engine. Can't really look at how Sauber performed the last year at Canada, but with them having this year's Ferrari engine, that might hold them in good stead as well. So if Ferrari have a strong weekend in Canada, you can almost be certain that Haas and Sauber will have a similar spectrum. If Ferrari are ahead of Mercedes, you'd expect Haas and Sauber to be closer to the mid, sort of 4th, 5th place.
That is if all things are equal. But Haas are going into this with a broken Grosjean.
Yeah, they are. But Kevin Magnussen got at times that Haas car has looked like the 4th best car on the grid.
Oh yeah,
I don't see why.
That car's looked the 3rd best car at the grid at certain points.
Yeah.
That car has looked great. It's just that the drivers, and it seems to be Grosjean at the moment, are more fragile than the car.
I think that car's better than we think it is, because they're this year's Williams.
Yeah, they had a horrible result in Monaco. They struggled all weekend there.
I think you came up with this phrase about 2 years ago, and I don't know if you remember it or not, but the Haas are outcarring the drivers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
rather than outperforming the car. But again,
The thing with Monaco is it is so different to every other circuit.
Yeah.
That if you're running a team on a small budget, and you had to choose one circuit to
throw it away.
to not optimize your car for, it would be Monaco.
Absolutely.
Well, Mercedes appear to have done that as well, don't they? They
Yeah.
appear to have sort of just like, we'll go for all of the circuits we think we can be good at, which is going to be all of these, but we may not pick up so many points at Monaco, Singapore, and Hungary.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 races we're probably going to struggle a little bit at, but
yeah.
that's fine because we're optimized for
Over
the
the course of the
other
year.
18 races.
Yeah. There's also another good thing to talk about Haas drivers, which all our mutual friend Andy Klukas keeps pointing out to me. Yeah, on your T-shirt.
He looks like me. It looks like him on my T-shirt.
And this is Kevin Magnussen's, the only time in Kevin Magnussen's career where he's had a second year at a team. He hasn't been in the same team for 2 years.
Yeah, I think you're right, isn't it? Yeah, he had it. Well, he was at McLaren for 2 years, but he got bumped down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't think he actually completed the second year, did he?
Don't think
When he
so.
was reserve driver, they got rid of him towards the end.
Yeah.
On his birthday.
On his birthday.
In October, I think it
Yeah.
was, yeah.
So I wonder whether this is because this has helped the uptick in his performance.
Maybe.
It may well have done,
Yeah,
yeah.
a little bit of consistency is good for K-Mag.
Yeah.
He has been a little bit...
He should have had a race ban.
Yeah, he's been a bit aggressive at times, but again, that car looks all right.
Yeah.
If the drivers can just get on it again, then Haas should be performing pretty well in Canada.
I think this has to be the year.
Has to be the year.
I think this has to be the year for Grosjean, though, where it's painfully clear that although there's a spark of a Formula One driver inside him, it's clear that he shouldn't be in Formula One. I think.
I think maybe I'd agree with you, and if he went to a different series, WEC or
Yeah,
something like
something
that,
like
I think
he may
Grosjean.
well be multiple world champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Grosjean will be a fine IndyCar driver, a really good IndyCar
Yeah,
driver.
probably. Or he'd be like the most spectacular crasher.
So
Yeah.
NASCAR then.
Could be NASCAR.
Yeah. He has said he's
Formula E. He'd be a prime candidate for Formula E. Big name.
Yeah.
Good driver.
Likes to put the car into a gap that technically isn't there, but you might be able to get away with it
Yeah.
sometimes.
Well, did Ferrari say that they were going to enter him for Formula E? Did they?
No,
There
they
were
said-
rumours of a Maserati team, weren't
right.
there?
Yeah, what was it? Marchioni said, we don't see any use for the Ferrari brand in Formula E. Now, he didn't rule out any of the others.
So he did say, didn't he, that they were looking at it with Maserati.
Yeah, and possibly Fiat. Because
Fiat makes
Ferrari don't make an electric car and have no plans to do so. The Ferrari group
Yeah.
do make electric cars. They just don't put a Ferrari badge on them.
Isn't Ferrari's like a hybrid car?
A token. We looked at it. It's a complete token effort.
Yeah, it's basically got like a rechargeable AA battery in it. That
No, it's the
under braking charges like the interior lights.
Yeah, it's LaFerrari, and basically they made it hybrid not to sort of reduce the power on the engine and sort of make it, a bit more environmentally friendly. They basically use I think it's a 4.7 litre V8 engine, which they use.
To pump the fuel in it faster.
Yeah, they basically were like, well, if we put motors on these individual engines and on these individual wheels and use the engine that we're using anyway, we can go really fast. So yeah, but yeah, Ferrari actually has become a company in its own right again, but they are sort of under the banner of the Fiat Chrysler automobiles, which comprises Alfa Romeo, Fiat, Jeep,
Maserati.
Maserati, many other brands, but
Got carved up by a Maserati the other day.
Did you? Was
Yeah.
it a white one?
No, it was a blue Quattroporte.
Oh, right, okay.
They're bigger than they should be.
Quattroporte, Italian
beautiful cars.
Four-door.
Yes,
Oh,
four-door.
yeah. As it went past us at about cruise ship speed, it looks absolutely glorious. But the problem was
Did you have your window down?
No, the passenger window on our car's kind of stuck because somebody watched some chewing gum in the seal.
Oh no! The best thing to do when a Maserati goes by, no matter what the weather is, just put the window down a little bit, just so you can hear it. they sound glorious.
Yeah, we needed to get out with some ice cubes and chip away the chewing gum that's actually holding the window
Yeah.
shut. Oh, I love living on the main road.
Nice.
So where are we? That's Haas. Red Bull, I want to talk about because they are the absolute mystery at the minute. Because what are these Renault upgrades going to do? Danny Rick's coming into it on a high.
There's one in Canada before, of course.
Yeah.
In 2014.
Verstappen's coming into it needing to prove things.
Yeah, the only problem is
But he thinks he doesn't have to prove things. He thinks everything is fine, which is a lie.
so did the captain of the Titanic until about 30 seconds before it went down. Too soon?
Maybe.
But that's the thing. Here's a question: is Verstappen actually under as much pressure as Grosjean at the minute?
No.
No.
No. I don't
That
think
was a
he's-
fairly short answer.
Yeah.
No.
Verstappen
Verstappen could
clearly
win.
has the skill. He just needs to calm down a bit.
Sounds like Grosjean.
Yes, but Grosjean,
hasn't won races.
No.
Grosjean, I think, is a potential race winner. Verstappen is a potential world champion.
And the traits that you see, as I mentioned on last week's podcast, the traits that you see in Verstappen, where he needs to rein it in a little bit and just become more passive than
Yeah.
aggressive, are traits that we've seen in Ayrton Senna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to be as good as these people, but Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher, Eddie Irvine, even.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, Sean Kelly always says that Verstappen is very
Gilles
much Gilles Villeneuve.
Yeah.
Who-
Rather than Senna.
he was wild.
And
Yeah.
he wasn't a world champion.
No, he won races and he's a very highly regarded racing driver, but
Yeah.
he never won a world championship. But you've got, these traits were sort of reined in by Senna, Schumacher, Eddie Irvine. He became a fine Ferrari driver, won races, but again, never became a Formula One champion.
Yeah.
Perhaps should have done, but Ferrari decided that he wasn't going to be.
Yeah.
But you can see a fix for Max Verstappen. You can see that he could rein that in, given the rest of this season. He might still have problems, but it's fixable. Roman Grosjean, on the other hand, I think Lee has described him before. When he goes fast, he crashes.
Yeah.
When he's slow, he's rubbish.
Yeah. So it's the only
Catch
thing I find
22.
with Max Verstappen is, I think maybe people keep giving him too easy a job because of his age.
And of the
Like I
Verstappen thing.
tweeted the other day, like when someone else makes a mistake, they've made a mistake. When Verstappen makes a mistake, he's learning. And I don't get. He's a very good driver. He's obviously a very good driver.
It's exactly what Vettel said
Yeah.
after their crash in China.
But I don't understand he's a shoe-in to be like
World champion.
world champion. I don't like. There's enough good drivers on the grid, and there's enough good drivers that seem to be coming into Formula One. Like I genuinely think if Lando Norris comes into Formula One, the way he looks and he's given a car, like everybody's got something to worry about because he's fucking relentless.
Yeah. But again, that style of driving could be that Lando in his first season in Formula One, if he makes it, pretty sure he will. People might say the same thing about him. He's too crashy. He needs to rein it in a bit. But again,
I don't think it will be crashy if he comes in.
But it's a different style of drive
Yeah.
for Formula One as it is in the junior formula. But going back to what Vettel said after their accident in China, when Verstappen went for a gap that really wasn't there.
Yeah.
The first question that was asked to Vettel in the pit after the race, would you put that down to Max's inexperience or his age? Vettel's response straight away, no, he's been here long enough to know he shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has been here long
Yeah.
enough now. He's been in Formula One. This is his fourth season now in
Yeah.
Formula One, so he should know what he's doing.
I mean, let's think about this. How long is the average?
He's not even the youngest driver on the grid anymore.
How long is the average Formula One career?
Probably about 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah. No, yeah, but I mean, for like a big driver, for a good guy, 10 years.
Yeah.
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah.
So we could argue that he's almost at the midpoint of his career.
If it doesn't go well, yeah.
I know
I think
the age difference.
The age thing.
Yeah.
So people like Alonso, who came in very young,
Yeah.
have longer careers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only sort of other drivers you can compare him to coming in at a young age would be Jenson Button,
Lewis.
Lewis Hamilton, and
yeah.
Kimi Räikkönen,
Yeah.
because they were all
Felipe Massa. Felipe Massa was
But
young.
you've mentioned there 3 world champions.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they were the drivers when all 3 of them started. It was, are they too young to be doing
Yeah.
this?
Button was
And-
20.
And
Raikkonen was 21,
I think
and Hamilton was
I
22.
think Button was 19, wasn't he?
I think he was 19 when he got the drive, but he turned 20 by the
he
time.
turned 20
in
by
the
his
season,
first
right,
race.
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, back then it was is 20 to 23 too young to be in a Formula One car, and then Verstappen comes in at 18, and all right, he didn't come through the normal way because
Came in at 17, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
sorry, it was
17.
17. Yes,
Yeah.
'cause the FIA changed the super license regulations to 18 just to stop it happening again.
Yeah, but I mean, Lance Stroll is now younger than well, he's always been younger than Max Verstappen. And is Sorokin younger than Verstappen, or is he older than him?
Do you know what? I
but-
don't
but,
actually.
yeah,
I'm gonna have to
I
look-
think
I'm gonna have to look
I
this
think Sorokin's older.
Yeah, but thing is, Max can't play this. Oh, I'm the young guy learning in a big team for
No.
much longer. Do you know what I mean? So I like him. I do, and he's great when he's on it and he gets things right often.
Yeah.
You know, like we were explaining last week about Brazil.
Does he? Does he get things right often?
No, when he gets things right often, like Brazil 2016.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Can we really look at his career and say that he gets things right often?
He got things right most of last season. The thing that let him down was it
Oh,
13 retirements in 20 races?
Yeah, but
and they were all car related.
I'd kind of say though, if he hadn't have had those retirements through reliability, chances are he'd have had more retirements through accidents.
Oh, that's entirely possible.
I'm not beating up on Verstappen. I think the problem is he seems to be getting this cult-like figure around
I'm
him.
now going to give you that quote from Jacques Villeneuve, which I think will make him higher regard in Lee's eyes.
I smashed
Don't
a load
say
of
it,
Aussies.
baby. Don't you know it's not the same?
Why do you know the words?
They're the only ones I know.
Jacques Villeneuve
right.
has said.
I'm only fooling around.
Jacques Villeneuve said this week that Max is just not as good a driver as Danny. And then when he was pushed on it, he said, "No, listen to me. Max Verstappen is not as good as Daniel Ricciardo. Full stop."
I totally agree with him. Totally agree.
I think Daniel Ricciardo's a more rounded, better Formula One driver.
I think he's faster.
Listen. Yep, you can just hear Gemma jumping up and down and
Oh,
screaming.
you can, yeah.
Oh, probably, yeah.
But I think this is the problem I've got with Max Verstappen. Well, not Max Verstappen actually. This is the problem I've got with people. If you look at if you look at any article on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube that involves Max Verstappen,
Yeah.
it's just a fucking war in the comments, because if you have a single negative thing to say about Max Verstappen, there is a million Max Verstappen fans ready to stab
Shout
you
at
in
you.
the eyes.
Yeah.
And I think I hate to see that sort of thing, because it means you can't be critical about people when they do wrong
Yeah.
things.
Lewis
They
Hamilton.
are,
went-
but Max Verstappen fans are basically directioners.
oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
But Lewis Hamilton had the same thing when he got a bit crashy, and it was after he won the world championship. He crashed into Felipe Massa all the time.
I don't think Lewis Hamilton. He had that 2008 where he was particularly crashy, but I don't think Lewis Hamilton has ever looked as ragged as Max Verstappen looks sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean, the drivers go through it. Raikkonen
Yeah.
went through a slightly crashy phase after he was,
Yeah.
lauded for being amazing at Sauber, and then we went. But was it McLaren his second season? And then he crashed quite a bit in his first season. I think it was at McLaren.
Yeah.
People said, "Oh, what's he doing?" But then turned out to be a great driver. I just don't know. But I think I'd close off the Red Bull thing by saying Danny Ricciardo looks like he could win the world championship this year if
Yeah.
that Red Bull is, developed well. He could be a contender for the world championship. Max Verstappen doesn't
Yeah. No. You're
at
right.
the moment.
Yeah.
At the moment, yeah. But things can turn around.
They can, of course, they can. Yeah.
I think if Max turns it around and starts putting like some really good drives in, I think he could lose it for Danny, because he's so far behind in the championship now. He's kind of out of the championship, but he's too embedded within that team to be number two'd.
Yeah.
Where realistically, if both drivers were on the same contract and both drivers were definitely staying at Red Bull, you would be more inclined to now go back Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah, I think if Ricciardo signs for Red Bull as well, that will hold him in good stead. If he get to the end of the season, he still hasn't signed for Red Bull, then
I don't think
that
he's
could
staying.
cause
Did you
him-
not see
cause
what
him
Red Bull
issues.
said the other day
No.
about the engine when they were talking about Renault and Honda?
No.
And I think it was Helmut Marko that said they were asked about Daniel Ricciardo's contract, and his quote was something like, "Our only concern is what engine we're using next year, and any talks with Daniel about a contract will be held after we know what engine we've got."
Did see what Lewis Hamilton said though, which was, I don't think Ricciardo's got any stronger options because
Well, this is the thing. Unless he's going to Ferrari, I don't see him going to Mercedes. Do you go to McLaren? Do you take that
that's
chance?
a risk, isn't it? A Renault engine, if they, possibly, I don't know.
The thing is, though, if he goes to McLaren, who's he going to be replacing? Because it's looking like they're going to have to do something else with Lando Norris next year, because I don't think F2 is going to be an option for him, because he's not going to be allowed.
Yeah.
I guess it all comes down to whether Alonso decides to jump.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll be very surprised if not Verstappen,
Ricardo.
Van Dorn
Van
is
Dorn.
still in a McLaren. I'd be surprised if he's still in Formula One next year, to be fair.
McLaren have also said Zach Brown has said he's in absolutely no hurry to start contract talks with Fernando Alonso, and has already told Fernando, we won't start talking to you till the summer break.
I think it would be interesting if
It's amazing, actually, because, last year when Fernando signed a multi-year contract, it looked like he was going to be there for at least 2 or 3 years. Now, all of a sudden,
It's a rolling deal, I think.
Yeah, it's suddenly changed to, well, we don't know whether he's going to be here next year or not, and we'll talk about it later.
the big question is, if, let's say the contract's not totally skewed for Fernando, where it's his choice whether he goes or stays, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's say there's an option on both sides. If you've got the chance of selling Daniel Ricciardo, do you not re-sign Alonso because of the age? You know that Alonso is going at some point within the next 2 years, probably.
You've had, what, 4 years, is it, with him since he came back? Or
Yeah.
5, is it now?
This is 4 because he came back with Honda.
2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is his 4th year.
So if you're looking at bringing, hopefully, your future through from GP2 next year, and you want a driver that's probably going to have to lead the team for at least 2 seasons.
And we know that you meant F2, please don't tweet.
Yeah. No, please tweet.
That's a total shunt.
If if you're going to need someone that's going to lead the team for 2 years or a couple of going forward longer than 2 years, I think you don't sign Fernando Alonso and you sign Daniel Ricciardo.
Well, here you go. Here's your pool of 4 drivers. Then, if they are looking at that, and this is pure conjecture and speculation, you're looking at Alonso, Van Dorn, Norris, Ricciardo. Which 2 out of them 4 do you take?
Daniel Ricciardo and Norris. When you put it like that,
Yeah.
it's obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, for me it will be.
Yeah.
Although any other team on the grid would take Fernando Alonso
Yeah.
if he's available.
I'd also
He'll only be available on the weeks when there isn't an IndyCar race because I'm convinced that he will be driving a McLaren
In
in
IndyCar.
IndyCar next year.
yeah, probably. The other thing would be, I know Alonso comes with a big bill, but I wonder what he brings to the team in sponsorship. And I don't like the just having no, but I don't mean sponsorship on the car, but purely having
How many companies want to put their name on a McLaren because it's got Fernando Alonso in the driver's seat?
and even not so much like advertising on the car, but like watch events and
Yeah, but
stuff
as soon
like
as you
that.
free up a Danny Ricciardo from a
Yeah.
Red Bull tie-in, you have to be sponsored by Red Bull, who would then look at Danny Ricciardo as a very sponsorable
Yeah, but
driver.
it's not wheeling out a Fernando Alonso, is it?
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's fresh.
Yeah,
Fresher
and it
driver to
also
look
means
at.
that all of a sudden your team does not have a world champion. You're McLaren, and there's no world champion within your organisation.
Exactly. Yeah. But yet.
Yeah, well, that's true. Daniel Ricciardo could be going to McLaren as world champion.
We don't know. Yeah.
But-
Nobody knows.
I think that wouldn't be a bad move.
Oh God, what happens next year? Right, total fantasy scenario here.
And more
Not good
conjecture,
fantasy.
ladies and gentlemen.
Total
More conjecture.
Total conjecture. That's the word I was looking for. It's early on a Sunday morning.
No, it's not.
Alonso goes. Ricardo takes his seat after winning the World Championship next year. For some reason,
It's really not. It's not even morning, Paul. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
for me, this is Sunday morning. Van Dorn stays. There is a potential of McLaren doing multi-21 next year.
Yeah.
Maybe Norris goes to IndyCar with Alonso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could actually hear multi-21 from McLaren to let Ricardo past.
So
you could always lend Lando someone. I mean, Grosjean's not going to be there.
no. But let's have a look at the sharp end, shall we, for Canadian Grand Prix. With it being power, do we think Ferrari or Mercedes?
Mercedes.
You're looking at more so Mercedes,
Lewis-
just
I
having
think
that
so.
edge.
Lewis Hamilton could win that race in a Hillman Imp.
He likes Canada, doesn't he? He's got more wins at Canada than anyone
He
else.
thinks
I think.
it has
I
the
saw
best
Hillman
fans.
last night.
He thinks Canada has the best fans.
He does, yes. I've heard him say this.
He said that. Was it last year or a couple of years ago? He said that.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I think we've got every chance of hearing that Canada's got the best fans again.
They had great fans in Monaco. Don't forget.
So third is great. Second place is usually amazing fans.
Yeah.
And the best fans.
Is for when he wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says. Yeah. Lewis Hamilton likes Canada. Mercedes car tends to like it. They did have that 1 year where they had brake issues, which is when Ricardo won. When Mercedes had that dual retirement, they were leading 1 and 2, I think, at that point. But then you've got, I don't know, Vettel. Vettel also likes racing at Canada.
Right. You've got to look at it this way. We're a third of the way through the season now.
Well, we will be after this race, yeah.
So this is really a race where new engine components can come in. Or you can turn up what you've got left in your car if you haven't changed anything to as full as you want because you're on schedule, which is something that Mercedes have the ability to do. Ferrari have had failures and replacements. Mercedes haven't.
Yeah.
Mercedes are going to be able to get more out of what's in that car and know that they're not going to suffer for it later on in the season because those parts are going to be consigned to the scrap heap, or they've got more time to repair them because the parts are still in the pool. This is why I think Mercedes will do better because they'll be able to, like you say, turn it up from 6 to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're nowhere near 10 yet.
No. You know, you get brief glimpses of 10, which is the infamous party mode that doesn't exist.
But surely all teams have got qualifying mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get this whole thing.
So, you know, you've got a Mercedes that can switch it up.
Yeah.
and you've got a Ferrari that could, but then we might suffer for it later on in the year, and this
Yeah,
is
like-
only race 7 out of 21.
Yeah, like the Raikkonen fire in, was it Spain?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the racing will be closer, but I think over single lap pace, you're probably looking at Mercedes locking
Yeah.
out the front
I
row.
think Mercedes have got the single lap pace to do it, and I think should they need to during the race, if Ferrari do turn the wick up a notch, Mercedes can turn it up 2
It's
notches.
quite a tight grid as well. Remember, because it's an old school style grid where the cars are a lot closer than they are at any other. Well, not at any other circuit, but a lot of other circuits where they're really spaced. You know, the grid positions really
Yeah.
far apart. So going into turn one, everybody's really tightly bunched up.
There's always turn one shenanigans usually.
Yeah,
sort of
more
from,
so than usual.
From about 8th or 9th downwards,
Yeah.
you're guaranteed to see somebody either getting knocked and spinning
Yeah.
or just cutting that first corner completely.
Yeah, was it Hamilton forced Vettel wide at the first turn
Yes.
last year?
Yeah.
So Vettel had to run across the grass and rejoin in about 12th or
Yeah.
something. So it's the start is incredibly important at Canada.
In fact, I'm
but
gonna
overtaking is possible as proven by, and we can't do a Canada preview without mentioning it.
I'm gonna put a bet. I'm gonna put a bet on here. The first radio message that we'll hear after the start is, I don't know who it'll be from, and I don't know who it'll be about, but he shoved me off.
Yeah.
He pushed me. He
Yeah.
ran into me.
Got a puncture.
Yeah, we know that overtaking is possible in Canada because of Jenson Button in 2011, which we have to mention every time we
The
mention
best
Canada.
Formula One race of all time.
I will go with that.
The racing bits, yeah, the bird watching during the middle. Could have done without those.
I spent like an hour or so waiting for it to restart, and then I rode my motorbike from my mum's house, which was like 12 miles away at the time from where I lived.
Yeah.
Got home expecting to watch the race, and it still hadn't restarted.
Yeah, I went and had a bath.
Yeah, and then when it did restart, when it finished, it was me and my housemate who at the time not particularly great Formula One fan. We were jumping off the sofa like, yes.
As a unit to say like how long something was, floods going 12 miles is probably slightly more exaggerated than your having a bath.
I have a very shallow bath.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just as well we weren't live blogging that one back in those days.
No, exactly. Yeah, we would have been.
Filling for time gratuitously.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit like during yellow car periods during the Indy 500 last week. It's like, yeah, it's still yellow. Barbecue's on.
Yeah.
We will, of course, be live blogging the race next week.
We will. Should we get some predictions for?
I think we will. Sean sent hers.
Oh, okay. Should we let Sean go first then? Because she'll be joining us next week on the podcast, won't she? Because
And the week after.
and the week after, because Lee will not be with us.
No, I'm going to be sunning myself.
Yep, they are finally locking him up. I'm going to take him to a little room where he needs and just hold these electrodes for a minute, will you? Right, Sean is going Verstappen for the win,
Ooh.
Okay.
Hamilton second,
Right. Okay.
and Raikkonen third.
Ooh.
Well, that's out there.
Is she
Particularly-
predicting a shenanigan-filled race?
That looks, yeah, that's all she sent me, because we forgot to get them sorted before I left home.
I see your TT crack has turned up.
Yeah, I think she's reckoning there's going to be some kind of shenanigans with the top three like that.
I'm going to say a Hamilton to win, Vettel second, and Bottas third, just purely because of the Mercedes pace. But Vettel always manages to find a way to get around Bottas or split them somehow through pit strategy or something. He always finds a way to hassle where he really shouldn't be hassling. Of course, Ferrari could completely surprise us and turn up with their own upgrade and setup that just blows everyone else out of the water. But I think on current form, we're all agreed that Mercedes just have that edge.
Yeah.
That is actually exactly what I was going to predict, but it's going to sound boring if I say the same thing. So I'm going to go
Lance Stroll.
Stoffel Van Dorn. Roman
Hamilton
Grosjean.
first,
Yep.
Raikkonen second, Perez third.
Perez third.
Perez third.
Wow.
Proving that having a child and being married does not slow you down.
No, proving that there were shenanigans.
Okay.
I'm going to go a Valtteri Bottas win.
Ooh.
Be good for Valtteri, that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Daniel Ricciardo second and Lewis Hamilton third.
I think I will go Lewis Hamilton win, Bottas second, Ricciardo third.
Oh, no Ferrari on the podium.
No Ferrari in the top three.
Ricciardo riding the wave of that win in Monaco.
Yeah, I think he's going to be on
It
fire.
really depends how powerful these upgrades are to these Renault power units.
This,
as well.
this is why I think Renault, Renault's R&D team is going to be my hero of the week.
Well, let's say I'm fully X-filed with it at the minute. I want to believe, I just don't.
You've wanted to believe about whatever's in the back of that McLaren for the last 3 and a bit years.
The truth is out there.
You know, you've been saying I got to believe that much. At one point last year, I thought you were turning into Parappa the Rapper. Now, there's a reference.
Yes, there is. Paul just did a Parappa the Rapper hand gesture in my direction.
Now I want to kill myself.
I've got it on my PS4. They've done a remastered version of it.
Apparently, it's awful.
It's the same as the PSP version, which
Yeah.
wasn't as good as the PS1 version.
Izzy ended up playing Simpsons Hit and Run on the PS2 yesterday.
That's not aged well, has it?
No, it's great.
Oh.
No, it's really good, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, Grand Theft Springfield.
Yeah, because it looks like a cartoon, you don't need graphics.
Yeah, they used to say that about FIFA as well.
But FIFA's not a cartoon.
No, people trying to look real.
Yeah, that was the problem. So hero and villain from everyone. Like I say, my hero is going to be the Renault R&D department because I think they'll come good with the upgrades. Villain, I'm going to impose a new rule. You're not allowed to say Grosjean because that's too easy and low hanging fruit.
Right, okay. Damn it.
Villain, I am going to go for Ferrari strategists. They're gonna screw up themselves out of better finishing positions. I'll say.
My villain is going to be Honda again because they look like they're starting to come good, and then I think they might just be exposed a little bit extra at the circuit where power and
I
fuel
get
as
that.
well is so prevalent. You know, you don't want to be fuel saving in Canada, and it looks like
Saying the
they
race is
might
going to
have
be
to do that.
ghastly for them.
Oh, very good. Going to be ghastly for Hartley.
Yeah, lift and coast. I'm only just round the hairpin.
Yeah. Yeah. No acceleration down the main straight. What? Free wheel. Free wheel.
Like swimming out of the cockpit trying to use air friction to get you down.
Yeah. Another interesting point as well is when cars are following each other closely down that back straight and one of them dives into the pits.
Yeah.
It's very easy for the car following to miss his braking point.
Yes.
Um,
I give you Lance Stroll.
I'm in the pits. I didn't mean to be. Damn. Yeah, and my hero is actually going to be Lance Stroll.
Oh, fuck.
I think he might do something surprising at his home race.
What, retire?
Entertaining,
Oh.
not necessarily a great result, but just he will entertain the masses because it's Lance Stroll in Canada.
To be fair, you say he's going to entertain the crowd, along with being like maybe not the best Formula One driver on the grid, to put it mildly. He also got the personality of a cardboard box.
Yeah, he's not. He's not, for example, Fernando Alonso at Canada last year, who when he retired, instead of getting a bike back to the pits, just went and sat in the stands with the fans. If you
Yeah.
remember, took his helmet off and
Yeah.
sat there and watched the race with everyone.
I remember you predicting that he wasn't actually coming back from those stands into
Yeah.
Formula One.
Yes, I did. I think that's fun. I said that might be Fernando
Yeah,
done.
I thought that as well.
Yeah, I think
mean,
we had
but
Sean
one-
Kelly on, didn't we, just afterwards? And he
Yeah.
said, no, that was just Fernando being Fernando.
One thing you can say about Lance Stroll, he's got a great hair game. It's just a shame it's his eyebrows.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's thick hair, isn't it?
I mean, he is
Very
a
thick hair.
one-man Oasis tribute act.
He's a green paint away from being the Hulk, to be fair.
Yeah, actually, don't make Lance Stroll angry. We might not like him when he's angry.
Saying that, he's got more than enough green, hasn't he?
Dan, your hero and villain?
Right. Villain is going to be whoever wipes out half the field at turn one, even if that's Grosjean
Oh, that's skirting around the rules a little bit.
Or Alonso.
or Alonso. Whoever it is, they're the villain.
Oh, so Ericsson. Ericsson hit me.
Yes.
Ericsson was about 12 seconds behind you. It wasn't Ericsson.
Hero. Oh.
Ericsson for taking out Grosjean.
Could we see some heroics from Charles Leclerc?
I hope so. That would be nice.
It
wouldn't
would be good.
Yeah.
It would be good.
Just to sort of wipe out that brake failure in Monaco and,
Yeah.
Another points
His
finish.
surprise fourth place result will
Whoa,
be a highlight of the
fourth.
weekend.
That's some shenanigans.
Hey, we know Sauber have got previous in Canada. They can do it.
When they're powered by BMW.
Shush. yeah. Michael Dunlop's engine from yesterday is on its way over
Oh,
now.
right, okay, fair enough.
My villain is. I know we said that Williams might do well, but I don't think they're going to. So I'm just going to have like Williams as a whole will be the villain of the race. Hero, my word. Hero of the race will be whoever resusses Paul. But
Apparently, it's not Staying Alive anymore. The tune you got to pump to, it's something else. I can't remember what it is now. So I'm just going to use Staying Alive.
Why isn't it Staying Alive?
I don't know. Surely that because it's the easiest one to
Because
remember.
it was always Staying Alive,
Yeah.
or Nelly the Elephant, or the Archers, depending on how old you are, basically.
I didn't know about the Archers.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I think we should start a rumor saying that it's Skrillex. Yeah, that you've got a bit of the beat too.
Well, that's 140 BPM, isn't it?
Beat, 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 beat.
Or You Suffer But Why by Napalm Death. All 3 seconds of it.
1.5 seconds of which are silence to prepare the track to start.
Oh, he's dead. Hero of the piece will be Valtteri Bottas because he is going to show how much he's improved by getting pole and winning from pole.
Yeah.
Do you think he's actually going to outrace Hamilton?
Yeah,
Do you think he's going to do the full slam and get the fastest lap as well?
no idea.
If Bottas
Oh,
gets
God,
his...
we've got Hypersofts this week again, haven't we?
Yeah. If Bottas, but we haven't got new tarmac. If Bottas gets out in front and does, does a really good job at first few laps,
Yeah.
staying out front, he can defend. Bottas can really, really defend. What he's
Yeah.
not great at is being aggressive on the overtake.
Yeah, but is that down to the fact that following is difficult? We've
No,
we've
he's-
said for the last couple of years that Mercedes can't
No,
follow
he
another
should have
car. and
stuck
is that
that.
why it's-
He
I
should have
think the
stuck that car
Mercedes-
down the
he should
inside of
have had
Vettel in Bahrain, but
I think the Mercedes this year is set up for following better than it has been in previous years,
Yeah.
which is why they're not quite so dominant.
Yeah,
But
it's
they
also
need
why
to
they're
be.
quite happy to sit in second place
Yeah.
and just take the points.
yeah. Realistically, when you look at the season so far, Bottas should be winning the World Championship.
Yeah, he should have won in Bahrain. He should have won in Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
He won neither of them.
He's won one race, hasn't he? He's won one race so far.
No,
Has he not won a single race?
There's been 6
No.
races. Vettel's won 2, Hamilton's won 2, and Ricciardo has won 2.
Right, okay.
So it's kind of Bottas or Verstappen's turn because Raikkonen's
Raikkonen.
not going to win.
Well,
one.
no, I think
No.
I think Raikkonen could win one if we see like an early.
Only if Vettel's out.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
If we see like an early Vettel retirement and Raikkonen's well up there, they'll put all their resources into making sure Raikkonen takes all of the points.
Yeah,
off
but the
Mercedes.
problem is, and this is why the Ferrari strategy team, my villains, have already
Kimmi'd Kimmy.
kimmied Kimmy,
Yeah.
kept him out for 37 laps on the Hypersoft tyres when.
Just out of habit.
Yeah, when he's down to the
Just because they forgot.
he's down.
Kimmy in for a pit stop yet? Oh shit, Kimmy.
Yeah, there's
No,
Raikkonen.
we're using him to hold Bottas up.
What else
Why?
is
Yeah, we forgot Kimmy, and Kimmy sat in the car looking like Macaulay Culkin on the Home Alone cover.
all the other teams are in France now.
Yeah.
Kimmy's still waiting for his first pit stop, and then the race is as long as 2011's.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Yeah, no, I do. I think Bottas is going to have a particularly strong weekend.
I hope so.
And if he
because
can,
he deserves it.
if he
because
can
has
take
improved.
if he can take it to Hamilton round one of Hamilton's best circuits,
Yeah.
could
I
make it
was,
very interesting.
Yeah, I was unsure about Valtteri Bottas pre-season. Thought maybe
No,
he's a-
I was the same.
yeah.
Yeah,
But early doors, he's shown that he really can race. He deserves that Mercedes seat.
Yeah.
He just needs that win, and if that win is in Canada, they're brilliant.
And your villain?
I said Williams.
You said, oh, you did say
Yeah,
Williams. Yeah, sorry, you said Williams, I dropped off. That's usually what happens when anyone's mentioning Williams. But they are this year's McLaren. We will be live blogging the race as usual.
Yes, you will.
I think, Dan, you'll be back for the live blog.
I will, yes.
This time. And I'll be doing qualifying on the Saturday. Live blog from 90 minutes or possibly 100 minutes before lights out
100 minutes, I
on
think, is going to
Sunday.
be.
Yeah,
isn't it?
usually starts at 50:30. Depends what time I get
And
everything
it's
sorted.
for us Brits, it's a slightly later race than usual because it's on the US Canada time zone.
Yeah.
So was it 2 p.m. 10 past 2 start in Canada?
Yeah, and
So it's 10 past 5 or 10 past 6 start in
7.
10 past 7
10
start.
past
is it?
7, I think.
In- in,
It is a late one.
yes.
So.
That's all right. So it
Around
better not
10
go
past
on.
6,
It better not go on for 4 hours then.
No, I wouldn't, we've all got work the following morning.
Yes.
Um,
Lee hasn't.
Nope.
No, that's true. You'll be watching it from some
Prison.
sports bar somewhere,
Yeah,
or,
that's fine.
The prison sports.
I need to find
or
out.
chained to a bar
I
somewhere.
need to find out what time it's on.
Same as in the UK.
Yeah. Well,
'Cause
what's the
you-
time difference?
What, between the Canary Islands and the UK?
There isn't one.
There isn't one.
Oh, is it not?
No.
Oh, right. Okay. Cool.
No, it's exactly the same time. They just call it something else.
CTM.
Something like that. Although, don't when you go, travel advice here, don't put your mobile on automatic time zone because it'll pick up the Spanish mobile signal and change it to Central European time, so your mobile will be an hour fast.
Right.
Leave it on manual time, which is what I have to do every time I go to visit my parents who live in the Canary Islands.
Good call. That's a Canary Island pro tip.
Ah, you see, you're not dealing with an amateur here.
Is the Canaries there?
No, they're named after dogs,
Ah, I like canaries.
which is a bit of a bastard. 'Cause I'm going to the Virgin Islands later this year.
British or American? British or US?
Moving swiftly
Hang on. No,
If-
wait, no. You don't get away with it. British or American Virgin Islands?
I'm not going to the Virgin Islands. It was just a joke.
Well, I was going to say, if you go to the US Virgin Islands, you're going to meet their president, like Donald Trump did.
Oh, didn't what he said? Yeah, he said he'd met the president of the Virgin Islands.
That was him.
Something tells me he needs better briefings, and we'll just leave it at that. If you want to send us your predictions through, you can get in touch on Facebook, as always, facebook.com/3legs4wheels,
Yep.
tweet us at 3legs4wheels, or you can tweet us individually at
At Flood21.
At Dan Dankleton.
At a total shunt.
and at Pablo100. And yeah, share your predictions with us if you notice anything during the race or you just want a shout out. Talking of shout outs, got asked one on email this week. Jonathan Mills, his birthday is next Friday.
Happy birthday, Jonathan.
He's 14.
Happy birthday, Jonathan.
Should you,
You shouldn't be listening to us.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, haven't we got an explicit download thing next to our...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy the beer and hookers, Jonathan.
the ones that you're sending him.
No. There's not. I haven't got that many.
But yeah, happy birthday to regular emailer Jonathan Mills.
Yes.
Right, total shunt time.
Yes.
Do you want a theme tune? Seen it?
We could give it a go.
Oh, come on, we haven't
We've
had a
had-
theme tune in ages.
No, and we've
This-
had people complaining that there's been no total shot theme tune. So
There was people complaining last week that there wasn't a total shunt, wasn't there, Lee?
It's not my fault
How is it not your fault?
because somebody sent in the one they'd sent the week before. I can't remember them.
total shunt, total shunt. Everybody, time for total shunt. Here comes Canada. What will it be? Lance Stroll or maybe Lawrence Stroll? Who knows? Let's find out. Total shunt.
That guitar is remarkably not as badly out of tune as it should be, bearing in mind how warm this room is.
it's been as out of tune as it has been since the last time I played it.
Yeah.
You welded the strings into one position.
Also, the strings on it are about
15 years old.
Oh, more than that.
More than that.
More than that.
Are they the strings that it came with?
No.
I was going to say, because they haven't... the
Must be.
manufacturers haven't used that brand for 10 years.
It must be an older guitar because it says vintage on it.
Yes, it must be.
You could get David Dickinson to tell you about those strings.
I could do,
It's
yeah.
about the same colour. So who sent this week's in?
This one was sent. Who did send it in?
Don't know.
Lucas23 on Twitter. His name is apparently RK.
Oh, do you like Robert Kubica then?
Hang on a
Probably.
second. Do we do this?
It's
And-
Luke,
if you s-
it was Luke Nipper that was the other
If you
one.
start with...
No, do we do this and
Hang
risk
on.
it being R. Kelly?
Oh, no. If it starts with, I was born in 1988, and then you did junior touring cars, then I think I might know who it is.
We'll know if it's R. Kelly because it'll start with I was born in 2008 and I'm well fit. But
Allegedly.
I was born
Good start.
in 1959.
1959.
Yeah.
Right.
So that would
Fif-
make
59
them
or
59
60?
this year.
Yeah.
I won the Australian Grand Prix 3 times in 81, 83, and 84.
Nelson Piquet, I think, won the Australian Grand Prix in 83.
Did he win in 81 and 84?
I don't know. What were those 3 years again, Lee?
81, 83, 84.
Right, so it's an Australian Grand Prix when it might not be Formula One Grand Prix. Could
It
be
could
MotoGP.
MotoGP or
Could be the Grand Prix of something else, snooker.
My first Grand Prix weekend was at the Dutch Grand Prix in the glorious year of 1982. Glorious year being my year of birth.
Hang on.
My first Grand Prix was in Dutch Grand Prix in 82.
But you won the 81
Australian Grand Prix. I can sense a mathematical issue here.
Did the 81 Australian Grand Prix happen after the 82 Dutch Grand Prix?
So I'm going to be, just in case it's important. I don't think it's important.
So it probably
Wait,
is.
hang on,
Yeah.
wait. This is not one of these again, is it? Where all the clues are wrong and we've got to try and.
I fucking hope not, because that's not the idea. I said my first Grand Prix weekend was the Dutch Grand Prix of 1982. That still
Oh,
doesn't.
that could be important.
But it still doesn't help the time traveling bollocks, does it?
Are you Christopher Eccleston? Were you Christopher Eccleston?
Will you be?
Well, if a reserve driver was brought in midway through the weekend,
Then they wouldn't have a full weekend. They'd
Then
only
they
get
wouldn't have
part
a-
of a weekend.
and
then
if
that-
they then went on to win the race,
Then
I get
I
you,
would,
I get you.
I would consider that still part of a Formula One weekend.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I want
Oh,
a
we
name.
need a. I think we've only got Nelson Piquet.
yeah,
So
let's
far.
put Nelson Piquet forward, senior.
In 1984, I was allowed to leap after dragging my teammate from a car. Sorry, that was just a joke.
Oh, right,
That's
okay.
not a clue. I raced in I raced categories in Europe, Japan, New Zealand, North America between 1980 and 1985, winning the Macau Grand Prix.
Right, okay.
Somebody with frequent flyer miles.
yeah, I don't think that helps us out much.
No,
does
it doesn't, does
No.
it? No, next clue.
I've won the International Formula 3000 Championship in 1988, beating the likes of Mark Blundell, Martin Donnelly, Johnny Herbert. Is it Donnelly?
Yeah.
Johnny Herbert and John Lacey.
I was going to say I was going to guess Johnny Herbert 'cause I thought he was 3,000. He was at 8.
Battering the Formula One midfield.
Yeah, he was 89 champion, wasn't he? Herbert, I think, must have been.
About that.
Because Formula 3000 was what became GP2.
Can we rewind a bit? He won the Australian Grand Prix in 81, 82 and 84 and then progressed to F3000
Formula 3000
by the mid-80s.
Now then, back then the Australian Grand Prix wasn't an F1 race; it was something lower.
No, I mean Adelaide started in 85, was it? Something like that?
Yes. So the Australian Grand Prix might have been for V8s.
It could have been for V8s.
Right.
It could have been for, as I say,
Could have
motorcycles.
been for F3s. Could have been bikes.
Yeah.
So that's a question that might throw us.
Yes.
You don't need to give me a question, a clue, a guess yet. Anyway,
Was that number 5 you just done?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Next one we
next
need
one
to
we
guess
do need.
over the course of 7 years, I entered at least one Formula One race, and I drove for 9 different teams. I take it that's not over the course of the one race.
At least one Formula One race.
And I entered at least that one.
Right.
Are we
how-
looking at someone who was right at the back end in one of the teams that were
Really
often
shitty teams
107%ed?
DN Pre-Q?
Yeah.
Perry McCarthy, the original Stig.
That's a great shout, actually. Although he
Because he really struggled with some dogs of cars like Andrea Moda.
Yeah.
I must get around to reading Flat Out, Flat Broke at some point.
Perry McCarthy's a good one, I think.
Works for
Didn't
me.
he race under an Irish racing license? Or did he actually was he British?
I
I think he is British, isn't he? But I think he may have raced under an Irish racing license.
Rosbergian.
Yeah, Ralph Furman.
Yeah. Should we go Perry McCarthy for the second guess?
Can do.
Yeah.
I was nicknamed the super sub in the US for frequently replacing injured drivers, achieving commendable results in the late 90s.
Don't know if McCarthy went into American driving, but
No idea.
no.
No idea.
Where am I up to?
That was number 7.
Yeah, I'm just looking for the numbers, the clues. Put spaces in, people. I won 2 races over the course of my IndyCar career. Finished 3rd in the Champ Car Championship in 2000.
Finished 3rd in Champ Car.
Yeah.
I think 2000 was when IndyCar and kart started seriously fighting. After the whole IRL thing, and
Yeah.
then IndyCar won. I lose track of what was what with kart, Champ
Yeah.
Car, IndyCar, whatever it called, whatever each series called itself.
Yeah.
I think we're probably looking at a US driver then who may have just popped up in our disciplines that we know of very rarely.
Bar a couple of one-off touring car events, I effectively retired in 2008 in the 2008 Long Beach Grand Prix.
So when you're talking about Australian Grand Prix, do you think he's talking about the Surfers Paradise one they used to do in IndyCar?
No, that was well after the 80s. I mean, the Surfers Paradise race was Champ Car, which that would have been sort of 90s, 2000s.
Right.
Is there anywhere that sounds more Australian?
Than Surfers Paradise. Gold Coast.
It's up there, but I think just 'cause-
Wollongong.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sure there's like a Wallaby Creek somewhere as well.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. Dan, put the internet down.
He's trying to fix it, I think. I don't think he's cheating.
Trying to make sure the cats are still there.
Number 10, and your final clue.
Yeah.
Yep.
There is a Spaffer. I think you might need it.
Okay, I think we
think we
will as
will,
well.
I finished second at the Formula One Grand Prix. I finished second at a Formula One Grand Prix, despite not having pre-qualified the previous 8 Grand Prix.
Oh shit! I know this. I'm gonna bloody kick myself. Either that, or I'm gonna get it on the Spaffer question. It's not Perry McCarthy. I do know that much. Because he never got anywhere near a podium. Oh god! I know you're screaming at us now.
I have no idea.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Go on then, Lee. Give us a spaffer.
Gary Saliva.
Spaffer. Paul's going to have to explain this because I don't quite get it. Spaffer clue. I somehow put the Andre Moda on the grid at the 1992 Monaco Grand Prix, or in reference to a previous total shunt attempt answer, Paul, I'm definitely not Argentinian.
This is the most Andrea Moda has ever been talked about.
Ever. Yeah.
Even when they were trying to race.
Do you know what? I'm not going to lie. I don't know what it is.
What, Andrea Moda?
Yeah.
It was a really shitty F1 team that the original Stig drove for, and it was sponsored by a shoe manufacturer that went bust.
Wow. Okay. When were they in?
Just before Scuderia Italia.
Yeah, I don't know if F1 Rejects is still going, but there used to be a great article on them.
Pre-90s.
Pre-90s.
Yeah.
About
Well,
how bad they were. If you read...
1990, I think, was probably the last season, wasn't it?
I think it might have been earlier than that. If you read the original Stig's autobiography, Flat Out, Flat Broke...
I won't read that because he comes across as a complete twat.
Just read the chapters about Andrea Moda
Nope.
and him driving.
No.
Oh, try and find the article on him on F1 Rejects on the Internet Archive.
Is it Ricardo Rosset?
It won't be Ricardo Rosset. That's
That's
way,
late
that-
90s.
That's way before. I mean, Rossett was 97, 98.
Yeah.
I've just thought of a new motor racing food related driver or rider we could have. The Valentino Rossi. Carry on.
That'd be nice.
Oh, balls! I should know this. I'm just gonna have to say Perry McCarthy, and no, I'm going to be completely wrong. I don't think I've got anything better, but at least I know I've got someone who drove for that. I know someone who
Yeah.
drove for that team.
Is the team happy with going with
Oh,
that?
hang on. Who was the other driver? I know it was an Italian. God.
Stefano Modena.
Yeah, I think he was around it about that time. Go that. Go with Chris's. Stefano Modena. Are you Stefano Modena?
I'm not.
You are Perry McCarthy, aren't you?
No, I'm Roberto Moreno.
Oh, bollocks, that was my other answer. Damn it, I knew. Oh, God, I did know that.
He went well into the 90s, Roberto Moreno.
He was always kicking around the back end of the grid.
With the 40 team.
He was literally the Esteban of Tueros. Not quite as good, not quite good enough to be the Ralph of Schumacher's. That was a good one, and yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Definitely not Argentinian.
Brother Ralph.
Well, Kelly, we can't condone your other actions, but you know how to put a quiz together.
No, well done. Yeah, absolutely. Got us 100%
Not too
with
bad
that
on
one.
the not too bad on the flying though, I believe. Just don't get me started. Don't get any of us started on Trapped in the Closet. I got drunk one night and watched the first 18 installments of that video. Don't do that again. It should carry a health warning. Are you aware of R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet?
No.
He calls it a hip opera, and it's about
Being trapped in a closet.
well, the
with
first
R. Kelly.
the first episode is he wakes up one morning with a woman that isn't his wife.
I call that a hip horror.
Hears the wife's husband
He calls
coming
it
up the
Tuesday.
stairs and hides in the wardrobe. And then it carries on for, I think it's somewhere close to 30 episodes now. And it involves midgets that shit themselves, women allergic to cherry pies, you name it.
And people were surprised that he abused a child.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
He abused everyone's intellect and
Or it's not
ears.
allegedly, is it? Because there was a video of tape of it.
He says it wasn't him. We'll just draw a line.
No, that's
there.
Shaggy.
Yes, Dan. Very good.
Good place to draw a line.
I like the idea that to get out of the videotape thing, he's essentially used reverse racism. It's not my fault. We all look the same. Bye.
Moving swiftly on to Formula Lee.
This isn't a jump cut, is it, Paul?
Might be.
It might be a jump cut. Because we got till tomorrow, essentially, when we're recording this, haven't we?
You mean a week on Monday after the race?
Is it a
Because this
week
is
on
just a
Monday?
reminder because the closing day isn't until a week on Monday.
That'll be why we're not doing a jump cut then.
Yeah, that's why there wasn't a jump cut there because people have got until Monday the 11th to send their Formula Lee times in.
That's okay. I thought you were going to do a rundown anyway.
What hasn't happened yet?
Yeah.
No, because I knew we were recording early. I've not put the times together yet.
Wise.
So,
See, look at this. Thinking ahead over here.
yep. So Formula Lee is Canada in the dry in a Sauber. Send your times in either via email, threelegsportwheels@gmail.com, or direct message on Twitter, private message on Facebook, or if you're friends with me on PS4 Pabstar, then I'll be able to pick your times up from the leaderboard in that. But if you do send me a friend request, send a real name request because it's kind of useful to know who's sending the times in to me.
Yeah.
Also, I apologise to people who added me on PlayStation, and I
Yeah.
think a couple of Xbox people as well, because I hadn't checked for a while, and I had 20 friend requests.
Yes. Also, if you add any of us on the PlayStation, just real name requests because
Yeah, I've Leadrum 100 on PlayStation and Xbox. So.
Capflom 21 on
Yeah.
PlayStation.
I haven't got a clue.
I think you're still Dan Dankleton.
Oh, am I?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so. I think you are.
It's a
yeah.
shame. As soon as Sony get their fucking head out of their asses and let you change your names, I'll be able to change both mine to a total shunt, which will probably make things easier.
It
For
will do.
people.
Yeah, and I want to find out whoever got Pablo 100 first on PlayStation and just have words with them. And talking of which, would the person that has signed up for a DirecTV account accidentally using my email address, and also signed up for a PayPal account accidentally using my email address. And I know for a fact they aren't doing it to spoof me because everything that I'm getting through is in Spanish. If you are listening to this, which is highly unlikely, learn how to fucking type.
Typos happen, Paul.
Yeah, but it's always my email address. I was getting somebody's bank statements a couple of years ago. They were heavily overdrawn.
Pablo
do you know what my
1000 is
favourite
only
thing
one
happens?
one digit away from Pablo 100.
This is Pablo 1001 because somebody already got Pablo 100.
I got drunk once and I completely forgot about this until it came up about 6 months later. But when Ben went to the toilet in the Manx Arms, I managed to be sober enough for a short space of time to sign him up for 3 dating agencies, including Profile Pic and Bio.
Yeah, but you also got drunk enough to buy 6 HTC VR headsets.
Think you'll find that's 8.
It's only because the man on the other end went, that doesn't seem right. He called you up politely and said, did you mean to order 8 of those?
No, sir. No, I didn't.
That's all right then.
Right, adverts time, kind of.
Not really.
Well, no, not exactly, but Fantasy F1. A couple of games that we're running on Grid Rival. If you go to gridrival.com and look for the Three Legs Four Wheels League on there, you can join in with us.
Yep, that's the independent one.
That is the independent one, and the guy who's leading our league is still leading the world. Yeah,
Get in
yeah,
there.
for the second race on the trot. A Three Legs Four Wheels listener and participant in the league is beating the entire world in Grid Rival.
What a shame you're going to do something with your pathetic life and there's no prize.
But there is also the official Formula One league.
There's a prize for winning Grid Rival, though.
There isn't a prize for winning Grid Rival.
No, from Grid Rival?
No, there isn't.
There is, isn't there?
No.
Through this.
Because you haven't been. We say this every fortnight. No, there isn't.
Okay.
When was the last time you went on the website?
A while ago, but I'm pretty sure they said there was a prize.
No, they said they were looking at prizes. They haven't done it yet.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, other people's
Disappointing.
prizes.
Oh, that's
That's really
they won a nice prize there.
Yeah, what they do is they put the game show channel on and just talk about it. Oh, that could be a not a director's cut.
What?
2 hours of the game show channel.
No, we do movies. We did Poltergeist this week. It was really good fun.
Plug. But there is 2 official Formula One fantasy games. There's the not for prizes one that you can sign up to. If you
Yep.
just go to our website, threelegs4wheels.com, go to the games section on the menu. There's a link to it there. And PlayOn also run the daily fantasy league, where you can actually bet money if your fantasy prediction skills are any cop. Sign up there, deposit $20 and get a $22 bonus if you're in the UK, Ireland or Australia.
What a strange amount. You know, to give back for $22.
Yeah.
111%.
Do you think it would be? If you
110%.
Yeah, if you put
Well,
put
yeah.
$20 in,
Well,
we'll double your money. Dead easy.
It just proves they're giving 110%.
Do you know what? I wonder if that's it. I wonder if that was some like Dave at the strategy meeting saying, "Yeah, well,
How much we give? 110% all the time.
Done, right?
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Unfortunately, the meeting for the sales team clashed with the meeting for the marketing department. So when the sales manager said, I want you to go out there and give 110% marketing, went, oh, that's a good idea. So yeah, you can sign up to those. PlayOn also do free games that anyone outside the 3 places where you can put money on. And they do give away cash prizes for some of those free ones.
Yeah.
So sign up to those. If you go to our website, we've got an affiliate link there. Sign up through us and play on a promised extra bonuses to the players if enough people sign up through Three Legs Four Wheels,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, we will be back next week with a slightly different sound because we're recording in my living room, which has got a much higher ceiling. So we're going to have to put some kind of baffles up or sit under umbrellas or something.
Yes.
Sean will be joining us next week. Lee will be sunning himself.
Yep.
Git. I'm not going on holiday until September. We'll have a review of Canada and all the other stuff. Lee, you need to send me a total shunt over before next week.
Have you got one, haven't you?
No, I haven't.
Have you not?
No, I used it last time you were away.
Oh, well, send me them and I'll send one on.
So
I'll
if you want to
two on.
send total shunts in, send them on direct message on Twitter to Lee,
Yeah.
and he will distribute a couple for me. Otherwise, I'll have to write one myself.
Yeah.
I'll make a spreadsheet about it. Don't forget your Formula lead times in, and basically enjoy the race next weekend.
Do so.
We're going to go and watch some bikes
And do videos about it.
and do videos about bikes. So keep an eye out on Facebook. We'll be popping up at various trackside bits
Yep. I Love Man TT is still with us until Friday.
next Friday. think Tuesday I'm doing a gig at dinner time. I might actually set the 360 camera up and live stream it so you get to see me on one side of the picture and the audience being bored on the other side. I'll take it with me. That should be good.
Just in
for a
case
laugh.
there's delays, yeah.
Yeah, just in case there's. No, it's Thursday. Thursday dinner time, not Tuesday.
Yeah.
Sorry, my gigs keep getting changed around. I'm going to go and stand on the beach and do Slayer songs tonight. That's going to be fun.
Fair enough.
So we'll see you next week.
We will indeed.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.